And so then they were throwing tangerines at each other and making off like they were friggin' Zucchini Meisters.
Well, Jesus. What was the orange doing in all of this?
Being the president.
Are we starting the show?
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's how this thing works. All right.
It does now.
There's no formal intro. There's nothing like Malcolm being like, "Welcome to Tragic Fool Bus."
Freaking meat.
Can we like see it like the
Yeah,
like,
you guys need a jingle. You guys need a jingle.
Yeah, one day.
Because that was random. I was like, "The fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
Can like Justin just like give us a little guitar lick?
That'd be sweet. I can do a banjo intro. That would be
a banjo intro.
That one, you know, the hillbilly anthem.
So what should Donald Trump do about the Mexicans?
Okay, but that reminds me.
Oh man,
I saw it.
You can't do anything yet because all the kofefe, it's getting to him. It's too much media kofefe.
Was there any like definition of what that was?
So he was trying to say what I heard was he was trying to type coverage and had a stroke after the first half of the word apparently. Because I mean
it's more than one syllable.
I mean it's it was pretty funny.
Press, right? He said press and then
one disappointing thing about him like typoing it as kofefe as opposed to something else is that in BC, license plates are only 6 digits, so no one can be like, "Oh, kofefe is my fucking license plate."
It's like shorten it down somehow.
Shows you that Trump doesn't care about Canadians.
So this is what I was when you mentioned Trump and the wall and Mexicans. Apparently, Donald Trump. This is from several days ago. Said on Twitter, Mexico was just ranked the second deadliest country in the world after only Syria. Drug trade is largely the cause. We will build the wall.
No, this is a real Donald Trump. I know it says it, but this is truly...
Yeah, and so Logan Horsford shared the picture on Twitter, and he said, since he didn't actually put any funding into the wall before posting this, I have to wonder whether he's just really fucked up, whether or not he's just insane. And I said, yeah, by definition, that's actually insane. That's Albert Einstein's definition, right? If you try to repeat the same process over and over and over again, expecting a different result, then you're insane.
Yeah. Also, if you think Mexico's the second most dangerous country in the world, I want what you're fucking smoking.
What does that mean by deadly? Deadly could be a good thing. Like, you know, like weed is like, that's some deadly weed.
Right. Well, this is the problem with Donald Trump is that his vocabulary is so limited. He needs one word to mean 10 different things because he can't think of other words.
Yeah, I wonder like where, what is even where he got that from.
He must have been like at a resort. He was like living at a resort at one point in Mexico. Goes off for like 5 minutes. Goes out to the real side of Mexico. And gets scared.
Another interesting thing I would like to know.
And a resort.
Another interesting thing I would like to know though is like, he says that Mexico is the second deadliest, and if we took that to be, let's say, just violent deaths per day. I honestly, would the states even be that far behind, or not even ahead? Like, because there was that
population in the U.S.
True, but if they averaged it, I mean, right now it's average in Chicago is one person a day at least dies from a gunshot in Chicago.
It's Honduras.
Across the whole U.S.
No, in Chicago.
Like 49 or 50 people a day.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Honduras has the world's highest murder rate, and
it was either them or Guatemala. All the Central American countries are high.
Shit! No, it's not Honduras. It's San Salvador.
Yeah, well, it was one of those countries, and then second,
Honduras.
Third, fourth, and fifth are like.
You on the internet.
This one goes out to Honduras. Fuck you.
Well, it's a shocking rate at how many people die per 1,000. It's literally like something ridiculous, like 20 or something like that per 1,000 people get murdered.
Holy
Jesus.
Which is, I mean,
and that's just on the daily. Like that's pretty much it.
This is per 1,000 people.
Okay.
But daily, I mean, daily is probably something insane too. If 20 people per 1,000 are dying, right? And that's like, what's the population of San Salvador? It's. I mean,
drugs illegal there? Probably.
Definitely illegal there.
The drugs, yeah, it's a huge problem there. Yeah.
Well, it's like in the Philippines right now. It's like some insane shit going on there.
Yeah.
Like he's just like the president's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill these people.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
Trump's
then
failing to realize.
Sending ISIS in there. They're
Well, that's
kind of
like
taking like the basis, like they're kind of getting disinterested with the Middle East.
Yeah, well, the Iraqi army, like I think it was today or
Apparently
yesterday.
They got like Mosul.
Yeah, they cleaned them out of Mosul, and they took like some mosques that they kind of but obviously it'll still be an issue. It doesn't mean every single one of them is gone. They're just gonna go into hiding again. Like
it'll start off as something new, right? Just like as Al Qaeda became
there's still like Boko Haram in northern Africa and all these other assholes that are all basically ISIS. Like,
you can change the name, but you can't change the asshole.
So it turns out Honduras actually is pretty bad.
No, all those countries are. Look up Guatemala. I guarantee you they'll be somewhere in the top few.
Guatemala's even down there.
Yeah, well, there you go.
86 out of 1,000 people.
80. See, you thought I thought 20 was fucking high, but 86. So there's effectively, if we round it, if you are a resident of that country, you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting murdered.
Yeah.
That's not 86 out of 100, by the way. That's 86 out of 100,000.
Oh, out of 100,000, not 1,000. Still.
So you didn't...
Wow, that's still a ridiculously high chance to get murdered.
Yeah, compared to everywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, I don't walk the street like fearing for my life. Like Brentwood, Victoria, even Vancouver.
You'd have to look.
100,000. Yeah.
You'd have to look over your back still. Like,
well, it depends where you
that
go.
country.
Like, if you were in Mexico, like you wouldn't go to certain places.
Exactly.
Because
exactly.
But the people living there, they can't fucking choose to just leave those places. Like they're,
well, yeah,
you're born into that, and then you're fucking
exactly
in a sense.
Yeah,
that's what's so shitty about it. Like if you're born in Chicago, it's like fuck.
Well, it depends on where in Chicago you're born too.
Yeah.
You know, if you grow up on the east side, well, shit. But if you grow up in the, you know, if you're a white family and you're like a privileged white family, white male, then yeah, you're fucking fine. Chicago's the world to you.
Yeah.
But east side, but that goes to your point though. It's really what you're born into, right? Like we have the option of never going to Chicago east side, and they don't really because they're born there. They have to grow up there.
That's where they live.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like, there's even like parts of Canada, like reserves, where it's like, if you're born into that, you're like, well, shit, like,
right.
It's like terrible scenario.
Damn it, it's like,
yeah.
Now, would you guys ever go to Chicago? Would you ever visit the city?
Oh, of course. I would love to go to Chicago.
I'd like to go basically everywhere.
But
but it's like budget, and then you're like,
I would be interested in going to see Ross Lambertson's old campus.
Yeah, that's true. Chicago is like a thing.
I mean, I would love to visit. I wouldn't go to the east side, but
yeah.
But then all the cool stuff culturally to see
Isn't there
is like in the center of town, not. Sorry?
Is there a huge bronze bowl, or is that in New York?
I don't know.
We're not American.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't think your regular American would be able to answer that either.
No.
Where's the Statue of Liberty?
St. Louis.
Los Angeles.
Some people in the deep south probably wouldn't know that. Actually, some people.
That being said, I can't say I can name like every state from the U.S.
Oh no!
It's a good thing I'm not an American.
All 50 states? I think I could do it.
All right.
It would take a while.
Seriously, we could try.
But you'd have to like write them all down and not go over any, and you just go like try to go.
There's just like the forgettable ones.
I think I get them
Georgia
eventually.
Seems to be forgettable to me, except for that devil one down in Georgia.
Maryland.
Vermont. Never thought of
Arkansas. I don't know.
States in Africa and like
52 nations.
Georgia actually has really good peaches.
See, I would not be able to do that. I would not be able to do that. I did like an online quiz once where it's like, can you name all the countries of the world? And I stumbled at around 110, 120.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. 217.
Is it already that many?
Well, like I mean, roughly, right?
Yeah.
I tried.
How many
states are in the UN? I thought it was like 190 something. It's like
it's close. It's close to the number. It depends. I mean,
yeah, because some states aren't. Yeah, like Palestine isn't considered a state officially.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, by the UN it is. Sorry, yeah.
The most complete organization of countries into one group is actually FIFA.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost every recognized country in the world is a member of FIFA.
Yeah, so it just shows you that like soccer is
organized.
It's the one thing that can unite people, despite the fact that FIFA is corrupt as fuck.
Oh, easily.
But
man.
that's the thing, is that no one does anything about it because it's like corrupt soccer is better than no soccer, and no one gives a shit. The World Cup. People are like, oh, the World Cup in Russia and Qatar, it's so bribed. There's papers that came out that showed that the World Cup in Germany in 06, was it 06? Yeah, 06 was also paid for to some extent. Man, if the Germans are bribing for the fucking World Cup, like, who cares, right? Like, no one gives a shit. Like, people complain about it, but it's not like people are like, boycott the World Cup. That's literally just not gonna fucking happen, so it's not.
As long as the game's not being rigged.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's more the organization of FIFA itself who claim to be a non-profit. It would be okay if they didn't claim to be a non-profit, but the problem is they claim to be a non-profit, and then they're like, oh yeah, we picked Qatar to host a World Cup over England. And it's like, because of this criteria, which are all obviously bullshit because they don't have any stadiums. People die every day making... They had to move the World Cup to fucking winter time because people would literally die of heat stroke in the Qatari summers.
Is it happening in Qatar? Or
in 2022 it is.
It's still... I thought they were going to like move it somewhere else.
No, well, that's the hope. I guess they still could.
Is Qatar getting fucked right now?
And then, Qatar violates, and it's like, it's so obvious, and the document's already out. It's like 99.9% guarantee that the Qatari whatever committee bribed them for however millions of euros. And it's going to be a lot more than whatever the Germans bribed, which was only 5 million euros or something like that.
Awesome money.
Jesus.
So
it's crazy where that money could have gone. And like that it went to
Qatar, it's look, like, spending that much money on sports, I actually don't have a problem with because it provides so much entertainment. But in the World Cup's case, it's like, why not take all that millions of dollars to a country where, you know, it's first world, all this infrastructure is there so that people can actually enjoy the sports, whereas the majority of Qatari people, like, they're so poor, like, and no one gives, it gives them a chance to work and build on these stadiums, but the human rights abuses and just like the labor violations, I mean, it's something ridiculous, like 1 worker a day dies in Qatar because of the World Cup. That hasn't even happened yet. And isn't going to happen for 5 years.
Would you die
and
for
you
a
wonder
sports
how,
stadium?
You wonder how the Qatar...
Would you die for entertainment's sake? Yeah.
Well,
like, it's like a weirder version of like Survivor.
It makes me wonder why there isn't a coup already.
They could literally film
there's just nothing you can do, right?
What's that?
There's just like nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Qatari government, I don't know. It's just a corrupt fucking country.
Every country's corrupt.
Yeah, but not to that extent.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Oh, so
they're pretty dirty.
Yeah.
To totally change the subject, you remind me of something you were saying outside earlier. Who are these people behind the curtain influencing Trump?
Well, if I knew that answer, I'd probably be in a higher position than a pizza guy at Whole Foods. But I don't know. There's always someone behind the curtain, I would say. I would almost think of Trump or
Vlad
Barack
Putin's
Obama.
fucking behind the curtain. He's like, hey, repeal Obamacare shit, and then Trump's like, oh, I don't know any better. Sure.
Look at how that's going, though.
I just think of every president as almost like the brand name in a sense. Like they're just the person that has to spell the news. They can be the scapegoat, or they can be like.
And in this case, it's fucking Russia.
Oh yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's just so...
I would say, like, at a personal level, though, like, there's, like, kind of 3 spheres of people that he's, like, being talked to. There's, like, his family, in a sense, who he's pulling into the administration, and then there's, like, the establishment Republicans, who he has to work with, like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, and then all those other people. And then, the other one is, like, the weird, like, ideologues, like, the base, kind of.
Well, there's also his, like, business interests that he's more than happy to work with.
That's sort of the problem, is that he's running a nation like he would run a business. because that's how he thinks it translates.
He's not even a very good businessman. So
well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
He's not. He isn't. He's only rich because he inherited the massive fortune that his actually talented dad managed to fucking do. Yeah. Not him. Like it goes back to the whole like small loan of $1 million. Like fuck me.
Okay, so what did his dad actually do? What was his dad's claim to fame?
His dad was. Let me Google it. I know it was.
He came to Scotland as a. Or fuck Scotland. To actually, his dad came to America. I think as his Donald Trump's grandfather.
Old Johnny Trump.
As a poor German immigrant. Yeah, something Trump.
Yeah.
The drums there.
Trump Corporation. It's fucking tongue twister. You can't do it. Trump Corporation.
It's kind of a catchy name, like a silly way about it. He's the kind of person you can tell he doesn't like to be laughed at.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like at the same time, like Trump is like kind of silly.
Okay, so here it is. So in 1885, Donald Trump's grandfather, Friedrich Trump.
Was he Russian or German?
Yeah, the influence started many generations ago. There was actually a prophecy that said Trump would one day.
Bavaria, to the United States at age 16. He amassed a fortune by opening restaurants and hotels for gold seekers on their way to the region.
A pretty honest job.
Yeah, it always starts that way. Always working with the ketchup man too.
Yeah, he was the second cousin of Henry J. Heinz.
Basically,
so he saw the weather coming with the fucking miners and was like, well, let's put up some restaurants, get some hookers, and
well, this is what I mean. His family ahead of him, his ancestors, actually were proper businessmen with like the entrepreneurial spirit. They actually did like forge out the American dream, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. But
Fred Trump, Donald Trump's father.
There you go.
He was born in New York, one of the biggest real estate developers in New York City, using his inheritance. Fred Trump and his mother Elizabeth founded Elizabeth Trump and Son. Donald Trump later renamed it the Trump Organization, and served as its chairman and president until assuming the office.
Okay, so his grandfather, that was the one that carved it out. But credit to Fred Trump. I mean, he still did shit with his inheritance and didn't just like...
Oh, yeah.
He didn't piss it away on bad universities and bad business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Donald Trump has, as for all of his successes, has as many failures. And so he's not really a bad businessman, but he's not a great one either. And he's definitely not a politician.
Well, he is a billionaire, though, after all. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like, he's a huge winner, but he's, like, also, like, when, like, I think it's, like, if you dig it, like, if you took almost any other CEO, for the most part, like, like, Donald Trump is, like, the business magnate that he is, and, like, the whole image that he put around himself. It's, like...
Yeah.
It's, like, you almost... it's almost like if you became president, any of them would get... they find shit like this, where it's, like, they fucked over all these workers.
It's true.
All this... Like, obviously, such a cunt. Like,
to your point, I think...
God damn.
I think it's true, but I would also want to point out at the same time, I think Trump... his actual business dealings are mediocre to like okay, but what he is really, really good at, and I don't think anyone can actually argue this, he's fucking unbelievable at personal marketing. Yeah. What he's doing is he's making a brand of himself, and that he has done really, really well, and what propelled him to win the fucking election was literally that.
Easily.
He's almost like a
Trump is an easy thing to remember.
Right, like I mean it's sort of like he's just famous for his brand, like for who he is. It's like infamous in a way, and I hate drawing comparisons like that. But like, it's like a good word, it's like Hitler was a dick, but everyone fucking knows who Hitler is. Yeah. Everyone, you mentioned the names, Stalin, Castro. Yeah, they were pricks, but fuck, you remember them, right? Yeah. And I think what Trump is going for is that he's going for infamous. He's going to be infamous.
Well, he's already at the point where he's like, I can't do good. I've already said some stupid shit at my point.
Right. As far as democracy goes, he's the closest thing that democracy could come to a dictator. Like,
that's actually I'm reading Aristotle Politics. You see over there. what he calls democracy is actually constitutional government, according to him. Like what we call democracy.
Right.
It's constitutional government.
Yeah.
Where there's a constitution which outlines the basis of popular and public government, where the elites have their role and everybody else has their role, and it's all fairly equal, according to
under the law,
wishes of the public. Yeah. And then what we call democracy, or what we think of as democracy, Donald Trump. Oh fuck. What we think of as democracy, Aristotle defines as a complete demagogue driven just shitfest where everybody gets their exact whim, and because everybody gets their exact whim, nobody does, and it's just a shit show, and everybody's fighting, and it's insane.
Right.
So I look at U.S. politics like that a little bit, at least how it's evolved, and so
Or regressed in this last few months.
Yeah, I think maybe regressed is actually a pretty good.
Yeah.
There was always regression.
This is some serious.
That's a pretty good word for that too. But
Yeah.
just the way that the politics of the Americans have regressed has made it so that there's just I forgot my train of thought now.
It's fine. Actually, I have a thought to kind of go back to the point where it's like, well, Trump is like sort of becoming a dictator in a way. I just find it curious because
demagogue dictator,
because yeah, if he is still who he is, but let's say, he gets put in a place where he has absolute power. He is a dictator. He has all the power. That's pretty scary. I honestly don't see how he would be any different than someone like Stalin, because his whole political campaign, he's like, yo, if I could just bomb stuff, I would. And it's kind of scary to think, like, if he had absolute power and he was still like this, like,
right.
Like,
but
what would he be any better than someone like
thought.
Stalin or Hitler? Like, wouldn't he just propel himself to that? Propel's a bad word for it. Descend himself into those depths. Like,
I think we'd probably be invaded in a heartbeat.
Like the president is the commander in chief.
He does have sole.
They were so like right. They could drop nuclear.
It's
weapons.
It's true.
If he wanted to fuck things up, he probably would have fucked it up by now. Yeah.
Right, but what's
because like there's the principle of MAD, for example, when you're talking about nuclear weapons. Right. If he fucks up anybody else, well, all of a sudden all the nukes are pointed at America.
But the thing is, in the United States government, there are advisors on his side being like, "Yo, that's not a fucking good idea." Yeah. But if you were a dictator, someone could say that, and then you could have his head the next morning, and then by afternoon, you could have launched your nuke already.
Yeah.
Right. That's the difference.
I think the thing, if he was crazy enough, it would take the thing is the president has the power to do it. It's if the person that actually pushes the button does it. Like apparently there's a Russian guy.
But they have order? I guess
they have orders. But there's the Russian guy during the
Cold War
Cuban Missile Crisis that didn't. They were gonna launch a fucking
nuke, and he was like, warhead. "No, I think it's just a technical error," and it was a technical error.
Wow.
So the guy.
It was a false.
No one knows. I can't remember the guy's name, and I feel like
I know exactly.
We should know.
This guy, this guy is the reason you're not fucking dead right now, or you never would have existed. You never would have existed if that had happened.
Hectic.
Right. So this guy, and that's the thing, is that people in the position like that are the most sensible people in the world, because that's why they get hired to be in control of nuclear weapons.
1983 Soviet nuclear false alarm incident.
There you go. What's the guy's name?
I'm pretty sure there's one during the
during the Cuban Missile Crisis. You're right.
So it was the Soviets, not the U.S.
Yeah, it was a Russian guy. That
was a Russian
Soviet guy. That was
who was the guy in charge of Russia at the time? I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Khrushchev.
Probably the one.
Yeah.
You and almost everyone you know owe your life to this man by National Geographic.
What's this guy's name?
We'll find out.
Pop-up ads. You won't find out till you pay some money.
Yeah. That's the worst when you get to a news article. It tells you it's like either you have to pay just to read the article.
Or it's just like an ad wall, disable your ad block.
So it didn't happen because that's when Vasili, the missile launch. Okay. We'll back up. Temperatures in the submarine had climbed above 100 degrees.
Wait, we shouldn't read this whole thing. That'll take too long.
What's the guy's name? That's the guy, right?
Man, what a...
His name is Vasili Alexandrovich Arkhipov, and he saved everybody's life. He was 34 at the time.
34? It's pretty young to be
He's
put
on
in
a fucking
charge.
submarine on a secret mission to Cuba.
It was a Soviet.
And he gets the fucking order to send a fucking nuclear weapon.
Send it
to the U.S. And he I wonder where it was pointed. Like, was it gonna take out L.A.? Like, where the, what the fuck?
It could have been anywhere.
It
wouldn't have mattered where. It would have been terrible.
In the US, and they, when they do that, they're gonna make it strategic. They want to wipe out as many people as possible.
So New York probably.
But with ICBMs on those nuclear subs they have over. Remember in foreign policy class we were talking about that they have over 20 warheads on them. Each of them are much more powerful than the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those were just little baby atom bombs.
Which is insane to think about.
Oh yeah, the ones that they it's so insane to think that those ones were just tiny little ones.
There's a site actually that takes what you do is there's different sizes of nuclear warheads and you drop it on this map and it would simulate the area it would cover, and it has circles inside. It's everything inside this circle would instantly disintegrate. Everything inside this circle would 95 chance die, and then it all the way out. And then the biggest warhead in its existence, it's if you dropped it in Boston, it would take out pretty much the whole quarter of the United States.
Yeah.
And then you think of the aftermath as well.
Right. It would literally be Fallout,
Fallout. Yeah.
the games that you.
It just gets cold.
Yeah.
It would get really cold up here. I don't think here in Canada we'd have much of the fallout conditions like they say. All those
I don't know.
deserts
Well,
and stuff.
it depends on the mushroom cloud.
Oh, the fallout.
The mushroom cloud is supposed to recreate a nuclear winter,
The fallout
right?
would carry over,
So,
not a
if
whole
anything,
time.
it'd be more like an ice age.
I still think back to there's that nuclear stockpile somewhere in Washington, off the coast of Washington. It's guarded by dolphins, funny enough.
Mm.
And to imagine someone,
maybe dolphins with security
They'll
cameras.
they actually do use them as security. Apparently, they've trained dolphins to I don't know what they do with them. Yeah, so there you go. By rape, do not attack them or they will rape you.
They just rip your pants off and.
Yeah, that'll discourage you fucking Russians.
But imagine somebody just hits a nuke on the big nuclear stockpile.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah.
That's catastrophe right there. Yeah, and that's right by Vancouver Island.
That's called
What?
just instant.
It's right off the coast of here, man. It's by Seattle. Look up.
Oh, that's close enough where that fucking hurts. Over here. Oh my God damn it.
There's definitely not much Vancouver Island left afterwards.
Why would you bomb Seattle? It's the last. If I were a terrorist, Seattle would be the last major city I'd think about bombing. I'd be man, I like Nirvana. I like where it originated.
Holy shit!
Just look up that nuclear stockpile around Seattle. It's it's right off of Seattle apparently.
Oh. The world's...
There you go. Defended. Is it defended by dolphins? There you
Military
go.
dolphins
it's true.
help defend the world's largest stockpile of nuclear weapons. Holy shit.
We're getting the business inside scoop.
Yeah.
That's actually
Fuck off.
man. That's actually brilliant though. To be able to train dolphins because man, that's a fucking salary saving. You don't have to pay the fucking dolphin $100K a year. Give him some fucking fish.
And they're smart animals. They've got to be
Oh my
well,
God.
you feed them. You
They probably never thought about that.
Yeah.
Just feed them.
Yeah, exactly. That's brilliant.
Fuck.
That's
20 miles from Seattle, so that's pretty close to us as well.
20 miles which direction? Because it could be really fucking close
Off the
to
coast.
us. Way off the
right
coast.
off the coast, yeah.
20 miles off the coast and the fucking dolphins are just chilling out there?
I guess they have some sort of training.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they work in shifts?
Yeah.
Do they have
I've been in
You got
this
the
like-
day, yeah.
Yeah, they can't. Dolphins
clocking
need to
in.
sleep too. They don't sleep. They shut off half of their brain at one time so that they remember to breathe, and then that's how they sleep.
Huh.
But they still need. They would still not be able. One dolphin would not be able to guard for 24 hours.
No.
So they work in like shifts
They
of like
probably do.
3 dolphins for 8 hours, and then it's
wouldn't they all go to
team
sleep at
2?
the same time? They're like,
Yeah.
I'm all tired. Like, oh yeah, me too.
Well, they must have trained it so some dolphins are awake this
That's-
time.
They're the night dolphins. That's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
the night
Dude,
dolphins.
Yeah.
We gotta look into this. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, what's not? Well, they're probably like, we're upgrading. We're actually training great whites now.
Fucking blue sharks.
Yeah.
Or is it blue sharks? Or the
Sharks
whale
don't
sharks?
need-
Whale sharks.
Whale sharks. They're the most like peaceful animals.
They're too peaceful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
You would need
Dude, electric eels. You
electric.
can have like all kinds of shit down there.
That's actually crazy to think
Colossal
about.
squid defending it, man. He'd come and grab you.
Yeah.
Holy
Fuck.
fuck.
1/4 of their
Really?
almost 10,000 nukes are guarded in this place.
1/4 of the U.S. is 10,000.
Almost
Holy
10,000. It was like 9,000 something.
Oh,
Holy shit.
10,000 nukes.
So like imagine like a
That's
catastrophe of
overkill.
just having all that
Dude,
go off
if,
at once.
if 2 of them went off,
Yeah.
that'd be fucked.
Yeah.
And like one, would they, if one blew up, it would obviously trigger the other one to blow up. Like,
Easily.
I'd say so.
Like, it wouldn't just be sitting there like, I'm fine, and everything else is just flattened. Like,
Well,
it's not,
Actually, how
unless
I
there's a way of triggering the bomb that's
I
very specific. And
think how it works. No, I'm not even gonna try and describe because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I almost feel like that there should be some sort of safeguard against like if one bomb hits another,
Yeah.
then one doesn't just go off.
But
Yeah.
But
They-
how-
I mean,
how
if
do
they
you
have
do
the
that,
tech,
though?
well, I don't know. But if they have the technology to
an
make this
explosion,
shit, they've got to be able to figure
But
something.
actually,
Yeah.
I'm
There's
trying to think.
there's
I don't know,
an
high tech,
explosion
man.
going on.
But I don't know if it's actually an explosion. It's because you're.
It's nuclear
yeah.
fusion or fission or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe the two halves they need to go together for it to blow
Yeah.
up. Like if something else were to blow it up, it wouldn't just connect.
Yeah. It would like.
I could see something like that being possible.
What if it's because it's blowing up, they do connect?
No, but it's like a very specific
There
process.
has to be, yeah.
that, like,
it's like you drop like a disintegrate, like it has to be like a decaying
Yeah.
particle to do
Yeah,
it or
so if it
something,
explodes immediately, it would have no
like, an
effect.
explosion wouldn't be like.
I don't know.
Okay, so
Actually,
my problem is though is that
why do we not know how nuclear weapons go off? Like
the
we're just
trigger-
sitting here
I know.
just like.
Well,
fucking-
it's pretty
trigger-
complicated stuff.
Yeah, why
There's
do
a
I not
reason
know
why
this
we're
yet?
just talking about it and not working on that kind of stuff.
True.
nuclear fission.
No, but okay, so there's like mushroom clouds, so this is
So
obviously
you have to split the nucleus, but then how do you do that? You don't just do it by throwing.
I
rocks
feel
at
like just like throwing, like if you've had a lighter and you played it with it next to a
Yeah.
bomb, it wouldn't just fucking
No,
go off.
I don't think no.
I don't think so. Well, like if it was a nuclear bomb, it would go off. A traditional bomb would, but it's not
Yeah.
a traditional bomb.
Okay.
It's not gun. There's no
Can we
gunpowder
have
in it.
sound on this?
In a moment. We're gonna be borrowing
But this
this.
isn't for
Ow,
a bomb.
that was
This
my
isn't
toe.
for a bomb though.
Yeah, but nuclear fission is the same thing.
Fission
Oh,
reaction.
that's a good point.
Yeah, this is like a fission reaction, but that's not necessarily triggering a bomb to explode.
Alright. So this is from Largest Dams on YouTube.
Well, this guy looks like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, more or less.
Whew.
Holy shit.
Thanks.
Ideas of how a nuclear weapon works, how to build a nuclear weapon, are out in the open literature, on the internet, various places. The details of how to make a nuclear weapon work are not necessarily there. The biggest impediment to making a nuclear weapon is getting nuclear material.
After years of intensive work shrouded in secrecy, the United States was the first nation to successfully detonate an atomic bomb. At that time, the closely guarded secret upon which the experiment depended was uranium enrichment. The enrichment process separates heavier from lighter uranium atoms. The lighter atoms, called uranium-235, are more unstable. They're the atoms that are split in a nuclear explosion. During the Manhattan Project, the most significant method developed for separating uranium was gaseous diffusion. The United States built massive facilities to produce enriched uranium by this method. Inside these processing plants, uranium gas was filtered through a series of semi-permeable membranes. But gaseous diffusion isn't the only way to enrich uranium.
Yeah, like if that
There's
fell off
another
that
method
fucking crane,
that's
it would've
cheaper,
been
more
fun.
efficient, and much more widely available. It employs a series of gas centrifuges and produces the same result for 1/20th of the energy costs. A centrifuge is a cylinder filled with uranium gas, spinning at 90,000 RPMs. This forces the heavier atoms to the outside of the cylinder. Only 7 uranium atoms in 1,000 are the lighter weight uranium-235, which remain on the inside. The heavier ones are separated out. 1,000 to 3,000 centrifuges operating constantly for 1 year might produce a pound of enriched uranium, enough to make 1 bomb.
You have to enrich, and then you enrich, and then you enrich, and you go through a stream, a process of these over and over and over again to get to very high enrichment levels.
Once enriched, the unstable uranium atoms must be kept in separate subcritical masses to make a bomb. To activate the device, a conventional explosive is used
Oh
as a
god,
trigger,
it would do it.
rapidly smashing
Yeah.
the 2
We're
masses
fucked.
together. This
Holy
creates a
shit.
critical mass and causes a runaway fission chain reaction. As the atoms split, they convert matter into energy, and the explosion is born.
Holy
The
shit.
longer the reaction lasts, the bigger the blast.
That's absolutely
Oh,
terrifying.
so you
Yes.
know what?
So-
Don't use conventional explosives, please.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if one went off, they would all go off.
Okay.
It's triggered by a conventional explosion that fucking sets it going. That's absolutely terrifying. Because that's the thing, when they dropped them on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they had them blow up. They didn't just hit the ground and let it blow up. They blew them up before they hit the ground, so it would so it gets more.
It would, yeah, it would
gets
get more area.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to
I
fuck
thought-
people up.
I thought they did one on one side and one on the other. So they dropped it above Nagasaki, for instance.
Right.
And they let it hit the ground. And
It might have been one of each, but that's the thing. Like they definitely did.
I mean, that
did
would
one
make
of them
more
where it went
sense
off.
from an experimental
If you
perspective.
wanted, yeah.
It's fucked up to think about when you're
Yeah.
killing so many people.
Yeah. Well, like it's crazy. Like, what the fuck is the name of the guy? I'll think of it. But he was basically like the military chief of staff type guy, and he was basically like
It wasn't Oppenheimer, was it?
No. I'm talking like douchebaggy, crazy like military guy.
Oh, I see.
That like he was like, let's do it. Like they're with like the Tokyo bombings. Their goal was to kill as many civilians as possible. And so they're like, instead of dropping a conventional bomb, they're just like drop fire bombs on it because the whole city is made of wood, and then they'll just burn the entire city. Like
Right.
they're not even thinking like, oh, get the military targets that are gonna kill us. They're just thinking like, kill people.
Well, yeah, World War
Curtis
II.
LeMay. Curtis LeMay is the guy. Look at that guy's fucking face. He's a crazy dude.
Well, World War II
Curtis
was total
LeMay.
war. I mean, it wasn't. Everyone was
Yeah,
trying to kill
yeah.
civilians, which is fucked. But
Yeah.
that's what everyone was doing then.
Yeah.
So
It's just pretty, like, when you think about, like, the individuals, like, making those decisions, it's mind-blowing.
yeah,
Like, that's the thing, it's like morale. If you can get that country to, like, same idea with doing it to Britain and Germany was to, like, drop their morale so they'll
Yeah.
surrender.
no,
Yeah,
definitely.
Curtis LeMay, he's a big hothead.
Well,
Hmm.
yeah, it just goes to show you that honestly, in World War II, both sides were guilty of war crimes.
Oh, yeah.
One side might have been more guilty than the other, don't get me wrong, but to say that, but the only reason the Americans and the British don't get charged with them is because they fucking won. They were
Yeah,
charging the other guys.
The winners write
Right,
history,
right.
It's true.
But like, you can't tell me that carpet bombing in Hiroshima isn't
Yeah.
fucking savage,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Like that's
Like, conducting illegal war and, like, bombings in
Yeah.
Cambodia and Laos while they're at
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're saying
well,
you're in
we're
Vietnam while they're bombing
yeah.
the place. Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
I think it was actually him, or no, it was I'm thinking fucking the Henry Kissinger. He was sitting in a plane, like figuring shit out, conducting like illegal bombings in Cambodia and Laos, like he was like actually it was like him sitting there thinking of these fucked up plans. Like they would get a plane that's in Vietnam and it would loop around and go back to the base type thing, and when it loops around, it loops over Cambodia, drops the payload.
Yeah, to test things out.
And then
yeah.
they were like, oh, nobody's gonna know about that.
Even soldiers, they thought they were still in Vietnam when that was all happening. They were just kind of doing their job, I guess. None of
Yeah.
are.
It's pretty fucked up. Yeah. But, yeah.
You gotta wonder what's going on today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. How much of the bombing that's being done in the Middle East is actually going over Syria or Iraq or even Afghanistan?
The mother of all bombs in Afghanistan was like so out of left field. Like everyone kind of like forgets about Afghanistan, even Iraq. To think that there's like still wars going on there. They're still dropping like the largest conventional fucking bombs they've ever made.
People forget like how Iraq used to be like wasn't a democracy as well at one point? Like
Yeah, way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's in the 50s.
It got fucked over.
Same with Afghanistan.
Yeah, like even in the 70s, there was girls that weren't like covering their faces and heads.
In Afghanistan, Michael upstairs was telling me about Afghanistan. He went there, I think it was probably in the 70s. And the king was there, and it was just completely calm, totally safe. Like even not completely modern, in the very Eurocentric Western sense, but it was there was much less oppression going on.
I just saw a video of I think it was Nasser.
People were very free and open-minded.
Yeah.
So I want to go to Iran before it gets fucked. I think Iran would be really cool.
You want to go to Iran in January?
Oh,
dude.
Man, again, it's all about the money. As a drunk man wants.
I think Iran is. I mean, I don't want to say completely safe, but I would say it's relatively safe. I wouldn't have a problem going to Iran.
But on that point,
it's the usual thing. You just don't go dangerous places.
You can see. I'm sure there'll be a war there within the next maybe less than 4 years easily.
I hope not.
Really? 4?
I don't know.
Only 4.
Well, I'm just trying to.
10 years and I'd be like, yeah, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But
that whole area is really tense.
Oh yeah, the whole area is not stable. But like, if you were to go to Iran now, I wouldn't be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
There's that whole talk. Just again, it's like maybe I'm looking too much into Facebook videos, but talking about how there's only like a couple countries that don't have like banks that are like U.S.
central
backed. Yeah, exactly, central bank. So there's North Korea, Iran, and there's
Iceland as well. I think Iceland.
No, Iceland has one.
Or Greenland. It was one of the two.
Greenland, I guess
Greenland is owned by Denmark.
Yeah, it was one of the two where they fucking threw all the bankers in jail and were like.
Oh yeah, that was Iceland. Yeah.
But the thing, Nasser. I just saw a video of Nasser, the president of Egypt in the 1950s, 60s, I think it was. But he was laughing at the idea of making women wear cover up. He was saying he literally laughed at the idea and the fact that things have gone from that to it's regressed rather than gotten better. And I'd say it's mostly it seems like religious fundamentalism that just takes over in some places and they can't do anything. Like Saudi Arabia,
people with guns telling you to do something, eventually you do it, and people who disagree get weeded out.
Yeah,
to put it nicely.
But we grew up and we didn't even going back to humanity a long time ago. We didn't grow with huge covers over our heads. What's the point?
Yeah.
Is that evolution? Like you said, that's definitely Devo, if anything.
Evolution in what sense? It's covering, protecting
from
the sun.
Okay,
but it's also think about the black burqas, the full-on body robes that are black.
You can't see anything.
In the desert, no, black is it, which retains heat.
Right. Yeah. That too.
No, I hear they are pretty comfortable. So
yeah,
if it was white,
the Bedouin folk,
I'm sure they make it the best of the worst.
Yeah. The Bedouins though, they seem to have figured it out, and it's mostly light colored cloth.
Right.
A lot of white, a lot of maybe orange.
That would make sense because it's all dusty. You don't want shit getting in your pockets. There's no pockets
covering your.
If
face.
anything would be on the inside, that'd be sweet. But the thing is, the point is, these people are being forced to do it. It's not it's like a cultural thing that they're being forced to do. What you wear, I don't give a shit. But when these people are being forced to wear it, it kind of fucking offends me. It's fuck that shit. Like, they should be able to wear what they want, right?
Yep.
Like, God.
But do you think in their minds, I'm only playing devil's advocate
Yeah.
here, do you think in their minds they're saying, well, I want to wear this because
Yeah.
I want to be like good to
Yeah,
Allah
no,
or like whatever, I don't know.
I think some people are true believers for sure. But I think that's like, I think
but
that's unfortunate that they believe that, because like, you know, some like Christian people are like, they'll be bigots towards gay people, and it's like, well, yeah, you're like, but it's, you know, it's like, it's kind of like their problem. They believe that.
Well, it's like they can like a person all they want, but as soon as they find out they're gay, it's like, oh, this totally contradicts my higher feeling. I don't know.
Right.
And then it pisses them off. It's like the stupidest thing if you just forget that you're all human.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's like individualism. You like take everyone as an individual, and you don't tell them they have to have like North Korea, you have to have a certain haircut, or you have to fucking whatever it is. Like you pick your fucking.
I think you have like 12 optional haircuts in North Korea or something.
It's a few. There's a few of them.
That's the thing, eh?
Yeah.
Is that for girls and guys? That's just guys.
The women have a few more. But apparently, even Kim Jong-un's haircut isn't on the list of official haircuts.
Really?
Yeah,
it
so
is now,
like,
or it's his because he's like it's a god hairstyle.
It's like, it's like only I can have this haircut.
These are North Korea's 28 state-approved hairstyles.
That's the thing. It is the state making these decisions for you. It's like a state.
So essentially, if you grow out your hair, you would potentially be executed, or would you just have your hair cut off? What do you think would happen?
Maybe there's like a point where they're like, all right, bud, you need your haircut. Like
it's looking a little
like what if you like didn't have scissors and you're so poor and you couldn't do it, and like maybe they would just think like, well, it's not doing it out of like a rebellious.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You're just doing it because you don't have any fucking scissors.
Now I noticed that none of those options are bald. So if you just are you fucked if you start losing your hair? Yeah.
Maybe they just don't even live that long.
Well, if
yeah.
But I feel like that's probably the haircut if you have hair. But what if you had like a mullet or you kept only the back, and then
mullets are American, Justin. They wouldn't be allowed there.
It's true. But like, I don't know, man. Some of those haircuts are pretty styling on the girls.
It's not that it's honestly, I will say that none of the haircuts are actually too bad.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you have to fucking choose one of them. You don't get to pick what.
I'll take the number 11. It's almost like a fast food. You have to chicken or
right? When you're trying to grow your hair out, you know.
Number 10's on sale.
Well, you don't. Like, what? You're just not allowed to grow your hair out, I guess.
What about kids?
It comes with a
what do you mean, what about kids?
When they're growing their hair.
It's like, God damn it.
Well, I'm guessing once you get to a certain age and you have a full head of hair, you gotta start following these fucking rules.
Yeah. That's the thing. It doesn't count for certain hairstyles that, like, some people just have certain hair.
Yeah, I also noticed that
there's
no guidelines for facial hair for men.
They probably don't have facial hair. Maybe they're not allowed to have facial hair. Well, you all shave.
They're not allowed to.
They're actually like, you have to shave.
Yeah.
Because
you can only.
It probably is because everyone's in the military for the most part, and then they all have to look perfect. Like,
right.
Maybe military though, you can have a mustache or probably.
Yeah, but this North Korea, buddy. Sorry, we should not be comparing. You cannot go to like Kim Jong Un and be like, so I noticed that as a Canadian, you guys don't allow facial hair. Why is that? Well, they do a lot of fucking things different than us.
Kim Jong-un can't grow anything better than a wispy mustache, like a dirty. Like,
yeah, so he's like, no one can have a better fucking like. Yeah, Malcolm, you with your facial hair, you get immediatally executed.
It'd be pure envy from Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, they'd whip out the big guns for you too. They'd fucking whip out like a tank and execute you.
Probably look more like the executor right now.
Holy.
Executor. Wrong region of the world, but sure.
Yeah.
Like how they all look so like happy. It's like an advertisement, but it's North Korea.
Yeah. Except for this guy over here. Far right, there's like a bit of like discontent over here.
The second one on the right, on the left, he looks like a CIA, like he's like a spy.
He's noticeably paler than all the other guys too.
That guy's. That guy's a little.
They all look a little high.
Yeah, they're allowed to smoke weed.
Yeah, it's true.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's legal there. Yeah.
All right. Well, never mind. So that's one thing they're ahead of us on.
I'm a
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey guys, never mind. North Korea is the best country.
Guy, man, Otto something, the guy who tried to steal some kind of like propaganda thing and they tortured him. That American.
Oh, and now
he's in a bit of a
dead?
coma right now. He's not dead, but he's pretty brain dead.
I thought he was dead.
No, they released him back like what was this one, like 6 months later.
Well,
but he's definitely not the same.
Okay, all this outrage over it, but it's like, you know what, man, you took the risk of going to that country and you didn't play by their rules.
It's true.
That's your own fucking fault, really.
No, I would agree with you on that. But that's why I don't want to go personally, because I don't want to play by their rules.
No, because
exactly.
Well, and the thing is, it's like you might.
Sucks.
The thing with North Korea is like you might try to follow the rules, accidentally step out of line. That's too bad. That's still a fucking execution, buddy. I
mean, like, it sucks because all he did was steal a poster, which is like, it would be amazing to have like a piece of propaganda.
Yeah,
from
well,
North Korea,
but
from, like, Nazi Germany, right?
He
like,
stole it fully knowing that the risk was death.
And you know the consequences, and you know that you're being watched constantly.
Yeah, so
and, like,
he made a conscious decision.
Like, not a smart thing to do. It sucks though, but like it obviously.
Yeah,
I
well,
obviously feel bad for him. But
I don't
it's
know.
I mean, Americans are like outraged. It's like, well, no, I mean, you sort of have a right to be outraged, but keep in mind the kid was also an idiot.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
Obviously.
I'm curious. If you go over there and you pretend to be like a real true believer in Kim Jong-un and all that, and you say, I would like to bring a piece of propaganda back so I can use it and copy from you.
I don't think they're that stupid. I don't know.
I don't know.
I wonder if you could just ask them, like, am I allowed to bring like a thing back?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, no.
Maybe.
And you'd be like, I'm not bringing anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like,
I mean, you
you
might not get away with it by asking, but say I asked, they'd be like, yeah, sure. See, this guy looks the part. He's even on one of the haircuts.
Is that privilege I'm hearing?
Yeah. In North Korea, it would be.
Yeah, because I could claim to, well, I am half Korean.
Right.
So I could spin it like, I will bring the doctrine of fucking the great leader to Canada, and then come back here, frame it, and just be the coolest guy when you have parties. This is for North Korea.
North Korea, North America.
The thing with like North Korea that blows my mind is like it's like living history. It's like everything there. It's like there's a little like dome over North Korea, and everything in there is like it'll be looked back on as like. It's like one of the last fucked up regimes, right? I mean, well, there's a few of them, but it's one of those like last like very obvious.
Oh, it's the most like.
It's like they have like 1950s Russian gear that they run around in. Like,
I would argue that North Korea, in its current state, might be worse than being a citizen in like Soviet Russia,
probably
Nazi Germany. Fascist Italy.
Yeah,
Honestly, those times sucked.
Eating grass.
Those times sucked. But, like, hearing stories of North Korean defectors, there's the guy that defected that used to be in the military. I was a guard at one of the death camps, and he was I'm, like, fucking traumatized, dude.
Yeah.
The fact that I was brainwashed into, like, shooting kids every day. And it's just
in their mind, they think they're doing a good thing by shooting kids.
Right, and he snapped out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And he ran across the border, I think, to China, managed to make it across, and he was like... Yeah, I have to get this story out because, like, this is just... Everyone needs to know that North Korea is even worse than you thought it was. Because there's so many things that goes on that no one hears about.
We can't even imagine it, really. It's like it's like trying to imagine what the Soviet Union was like. It's like, oh, really shitty, they come and take your grain. It's like, no, you're starving. Like, you're eating fucking grass. Yeah. And your parents are dying. There was a North Korean kid that, like, made a joke. It was, like, just the darkest sense of humor. They're like... Oh, when I was, like, in the 90s, I was playing, like, Nintendo games. He was like, oh, I was watching my dad starve to death. It's like, but, like, that's, like, a joke. It's, like, you just, like, like, your day.
I mean,
that's what they did. That's what they...
joke in a sense. Like, it comes from something, right?
It's, like...
That's what they did.
Shit. Like, it's heavy. Like, and, like, to think that they've lived like that since the 1950s. Was it 1952 that happened?
I think it was 54.
50. I think it was 50, wasn't it?
54.
What?
But the Korean War started in 50, yeah. So and then 54.
The division happened after the war, which is 53
now,
or 54.
Yeah.
Why is North Korea still a country and hasn't just been like totally taken down. In a sense, the
They're
bigger
stay.
powers can definitely, if they wanted to, they could take it down. Why are they still
It's
there?
a complicated situation, mainly because after the Korean War, North Korea and China were allies.
Right.
Are they? China is still an ally. So is Russia. in
I
a
mean,
sense,
yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
Arms
So
length,
and
yeah.
so for, and you know, from the 50s onwards, the big nations of the Western world were more concerned with Russia. I think the reason like North Korea hasn't gotten taken out is that North Korea doesn't really pose a threat.
Right.
Right? They talk big, but they don't pose a threat in the same way that Russia did.
I heard a theory on Joe Rogan that they're like they'll purposely fail the like missile tests because like they're pretty much like they know they're not gonna fight the United States.
So I think the reason that nothing's been done about it is just because like it gets very hairy politically in that area. Although China are starting to like steer away from them as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's political reasons. It's also just like they're literally not a threat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're scouts. All their nuclear warheads are like really older duds, mostly duds probably, because their launchers always fucking fail. Yes, they have submarines, but they're outdated to the point that like it doesn't matter. Yes, they have tanks, but like one American tank could probably take out the whole fleet without sustaining any damage. Like seriously though, like their tanks are like outdated 1960s, 1970s Soviet tanks. Americans, they have the fucking M1 Abrams that doesn't even need to see its target to take it out. Like,
yeah.
I just find it funny that they still like prop North Korea up as like a bit of a boogeyman. Like there was a thing going on where they were talking about like nuclear testing and everyone was saying like, oh, this is the beginning of World War III.
thanks for
Well,
offering
apparently,
me.
what Obama told Trump
I love
when he
that,
came
yeah.
in was like that North Korea is like the biggest threat. The biggest
Bullshit.
problem.
Just like
But,
Iraq
like,
was the biggest threat when they said they had nuclear weapons of
right.
mass destruction. And look where they
Actually, what?
Yeah.
I can get you something from upstairs.
I wonder though, like,
No.
Well, almost. Well, you know what though? Other than Trump, because he's an idiot, but all this stuff you hear about North Korea being a threat is mostly the media. No one high up in the military in any world is going like, holy shit, North Korea is a threat, right? They're talking about the troubles with ISIS, the troubles with, unrest in certain countries as being more violent and more right. But no top American general is being like, oh shit, like North Korea could fuck us up any day. That's not a concern, right? They're obviously, as the states, they're not concerned about anyone fucking them up, but like least of all North Korea. That's literally not. It's a human rights problem. Don't get me wrong, and eventually something does have to be done about it. But just like right now, it's just not worth the Americans' time to just storm in there, take them all out because they can. Because like, how's that worked out for the state's image themselves, right? Like they don't want to do that shit.
well, also North Korea has like weapons just pointed at Seoul. So if they fucking
Right.
even
They take
if
that down,
even if
that's
the
a
U.S. did
huge
anything,
ally
yeah,
of the
there'd be like
US.
millions,
Yeah.
2 million people would be dead, just because the U.S. took out, a pest, and it's like it's like the utilitarian argument. It's not really worth it. Even though I think something should be done about it. Like I wish those people were free, but then when you do something
Right,
about
but
it,
like here's the thing. People always like, oh my god, they should do something about North Korea.
Yeah.
But let me just throw this out there. What would you do? What do you propose we do?
Yeah.
Right?
No,
like
It's
it's
kill the
fucking
guy who someone has said is doing
No,
some
the
bad
solution
shit.
is it's either diplomatic, like use like pressure, like soft power.
Let's go.
Use
Let's
China and Russia to
right.
be like, we're gonna cut economic ties unless you start changing your fucking regime.
right.
But then
They've already been
even
doing
then,
that.
yeah.
That's what they've been doing for 10-ish
And
years.
and what happens is that the higher up Kim Jong Un's like, well, our country generates enough food and money for the higher up, so who gives a shit? So more people starve. Okay, so that's not the solution.
Yeah.
Okay, what if we kill Kim Jong Un? Well, someone else would just take charge, related or otherwise, right? So that doesn't solve the issue either.
There was already a scare that had happened. Like people were worried. I think it was either this last year or the year before that. There's like apparently Kim Jong Un watchers, and so these guys were worried because they hadn't seen him in about a month.
Right.
They'd seen he had made no public appearance.
Yeah, he wasn't making.
So they wondered if he had been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, well, who the fuck is in charge now?
Yeah.
How the hell will we deal with them? Because if we don't know who they are, then we can't prepare. So,
But there's like a hierarchy around him.
Yeah.
You know, you're like they're killing off. He's like killing off his uncle and things like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane.
So silly again, and it comes down to like just being so power hungry
Yeah.
that you would actually kill your own family just for the
or being so paranoid.
Mm-hmm.
but just for your own benefit. I
don't
guess
think it-
that's
I
still
don't think
technically paranoia is for your own benefit. You're
Yeah,
worried
I
about
don't
something,
think
so
he's
for your
power hungry.
safety, you will take out your own family member.
I don't think he's power hungry because there is no more power in North Korea. He is.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Kims aren't power hungry. They're not trying to take over the world.
Mhm.
They're happy with where they're fucking balling where they are.
Sure. He's
Seriously, they're
technically-
living
he's
good
probably the only
lives.
celebrity in North
They're
Korea,
they're
right?
living good. They're straight up living good lives.
So even
Mhm.
Kim Il Sung,
Yeah.
Kim Jong,
The OG.
Kim
The
Jong-il,
OG, and there
Oh
was
yeah,
Kim
the
Jong-un.
remix. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the third the third movie in the
The
trilogy. should
The
never
silly
have
man
been
over
made.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still doesn't have a kid yet. What the fuck?
Yeah, so
Those
I
are the
believe
successes.
if he were to die now, it would be his sister that takes over.
Yeah. Well, he just assassinated his brother, right?
I think it is. Well, that guy was already out of the running a long time ago because
Yeah.
he was caught in Disneyland in the Western world.
Which
In Tokyo.
It's
of the family.
it's.
I hate to laugh at that, but again, it's like, oh, having fun.
Well, I mean,
No,
it's an
that's a death
outrageous.
sentence
It's
right
an
now.
outrage. What sort of outrageous regime where it's like, yeah, you can get fired for going on a perfectly fine vacation. Like, could
It's
you
like the happy
imagine?
place,
Like,
the
oh, you
happiest
went.
place in the world
Oh,
for
you went to
independence
Disneyland.
status.
Well, sorry, man, can't have that.
Breaks his propaganda conditioning, though.
Thing is, I
They
bet you
probably
Kim
don't
Jong Un's
have
been to
any,
fucking Disneyland and just never got caught.
Easily, yeah, man.
You know, like.
He just had
Dresses
long
like a
hair for
tourist.
it.
Yeah,
It's
he was
long hair
fucking
and
Mickey
tacky
Mouse,
tourist
probably.
shirt.
Well, as long as he doesn't have his fucking Dr. Evil uniform on.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It's like Hillary Clinton too. Though, like, why does she walk around with like a fucking Dr. Evil?
Man.
What's Dr. Evil's sidekick's name? What's her
Mini-Me.
name?
Maybe.
No, her
Oh.
name.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Oh, John Podesta? Wait, you talking about
not-
Hillary Clinton's
not
evil
number
like
two.
sidekick? Because that
Not
could
number
be
two.
it.
What's her fucking name?
No, Dr. Evil's
Well, there's like
lover
Oh
sidekick.
god,
the
okay.
really ugly one, but she's awesome.
Yeah, she's so fucking.
Alright.
Wait, I know it.
Sorry, I
not
gotta...
like Ivana, is it?
Dude, I thought, yeah, sweet.
He also fucks her quite a bit, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They get dirty.
Frau Farbesina,
I like how she's supposed to be like a German lady, like evil.
played by Mindy Sterling. Sorry,
She's actually a
Mindy.
pretty great actor.
I've
She's
never. Okay, what else is
fantastic.
she in? I'm actually curious.
Yeah,
Mindy
we should
Sterling,
check this
because I
out.
don't. It's not a familiar name in Hollywood.
Well, let's go to her IMDb thing.
There you go.
The Spy Who Shagged Me. Austin Powers is amazing.
I was kind of thinking about that. It's like they made 3 movies and they
What
were
the
all
hell?
really good.
Apparently, Mike Myers is a
Dr.
prick to
Evil
work
story.
with, though.
So I've heard.
Is
man,
what
even in person, like, some guys, like,
read. Is what I've read. Yeah, apparently he's a
someone-
prick to work with.
Apparently bought him a beer once. Like, this one's for you, Mike, and he's like, "Fuck off! I can afford that. Stop bothering me." Apparently, is what he
Well,
said.
apparently she's only
Not
played
quote unquote,
Austin
but-
Powers roles. She's only ever done
No.
Austin Powers.
Yeah, and probably Seth Roy.
This is just the character
Yeah,
page.
go to Mindy Sterling and see what else
Oh.
she's done.
You gotta go, you gotta go to her.
No, what I like about Austin Powers is, again, sequels.
Oh, that's a
and, like,
nice picture.
movies of
Oh,
them.
she's
Usually,
great.
like, movies,
Yeah.
you can't do more than the original without it sucking. But I found
1953.
Austin Powers was really good.
Yeah, they like almost got better.
Yeah.
Even though
Well, it
they're-
depends. If
they're
it's
so
if
good.
it's a planned out trilogy, then it can
Like
be good.
Lord of the Rings, it was already
Yeah.
meant to be like that.
Lord of the
long, so that's
Rings,
different right there.
Dark Knight trilogy is
Yeah.
fucking
even
I
amazing.
don't
Star
think that
Wars
was
was meant to be
planned out too
3.
much.
The original.
I think it was planned to be a trilogy.
Yeah,
It's the movies that don't plan on being a trilogy that, or like are over planned. Like The Hobbit, the movies kind of suck.
I never
Yeah,
saw the
that
Hobbit
wasn't a good
actually.
idea.
Yeah.
That
Never-
wasn't-
Dude,
Well, they
it
just
was
added
totally
too much
done
into
for a
it.
reason, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Wait,
It was
did
done
they add
for
on
money.
From, like the original book.
Don't,
added
yeah,
on
they
different
fucking
parts.
dude. Legolas
that's
was in the
butchering it
Hobbit.
there.
I was like, the fuck,
Well,
Legolas
no,
is not.
No, it involved
And then random
involved
chicks with the
source
shoes
material from the
talking.
Silmarillion, which is even further back from. The
No,
Hobbit.
I understand why they
But
did
does
it.
the Silmarillion touch
And-
on the Hobbit shit?
It, yeah, but
And-
the only thing is that he assumes that Legolas was there. He completely makes up
that's
Tauriel
true. That's
because
fine.
obviously, what's his face? Thranduil was involved.
Yeah.
That's in the book.
Which is his father.
In the Hobbit.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, but Tolkien himself intended the Hobbit to be a stand-alone.
Children's
Like, it wasn't
story,
even
yeah.
supposed to be part of his whole
He has an
world.
interesting
But
concept
it
of a
obviously
children's
gets dragged
story,
in.
but
But it
alright.
was the first creation, I think.
Yeah, like
Or
the Lord of
first
the Rings,
publicized.
the first thing he wrote, yeah. Or maybe, actually, no, I think there was earlier shit. But in terms of that stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, it was published. Yeah.
like, the Lord of the Rings was a follow-up to The Hobbit.
Yeah.
And then he pulled in all of the history into the Lord of the
Tolkien's
Rings.
got to be one of the historical figures I would like to chill with the most.
Oh, yeah.
If I
Oh,
could,
yeah.
if I could interview
Yeah.
certain historical figures, like
Yeah.
he would be near the top.
He's high on my list.
Hearing him read this one poem, you told me about it.
Yeah.
Do you mind
the
putting that on?
Hoard.
Because I've never heard his voice,
Dude, the
actually.
Hoard is so good.
He's actually, his voice is similar to that of Gandalf.
Yeah, really?
He's actually just a wizard.
The Hoard, it's so good.
So is this a poem he wrote?
Yeah. It's just like, it doesn't even,
Oh, he's reading his own poem?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice, okay.
When the moon was new and the sun young, of silver and gold the gods sung. In the green grass they silver spilled, and the white waters they with gold filled. Ere the pit was dug, or hell yawned, ere a dwarf was bred, or dragon spawned, there were elves of old, and strong spellers on the green hills in hollow dells they sang as they wrought many fair things, and the bright crowns of the elf king. But their doom fell, and their song waned, by iron hewn and by steel chained, greed that sang not nor with mouth smile, in dark holes their wealth piled, graven silver and carven gold, over Elvenhome the shadow rolled. There was an old dwarf in a dark cave, the silver and gold his fingers clave, with hammer and tongs and anvil stone he worked his hands to the hard bone, and coins he made, and strings of rings, and thought to buy the power of kings. But his eyes grew dim, his ears dull, and the skin yellow on his old skull. Through his bony claw with a pale sheen the stony jewel slipped unseen. No feet he heard, though the earth quaked, when the young dragon his thirst slaked. And the scream smoked at his dark door. The flames hissed on the dank floor, and he died alone in the red fire. His bones were ashes in the hot mire. There was an old dragon and a grey stone. His red eyes blinked as he lay alone. His joy was dead, and his youth spent. He was knobbed and wrinkled, and his limbs bent in the long years to his gold chain. In his heart's furnace the fire waned. To his belly's slime gems stuck thick. Silver and gold he would snuff and lick. He knew the place of the least ring beneath the shadow of his black wing. Of thieves he thought on his hard bed, and dreamed that on their flesh he fed, their bones crushed and their blood drank. His ears drooped and his breath sank. Mail rings rang, he heard them not. A voice echoed in his deep grot. A young warrior with a bright sword called him forth to defend his hoard. His teeth were knives and his horn his hide, but iron tore him and his flame died. There was an old king on a high throne. His white beard lay on knees of bone. His mouth savoured neither meat nor drink, nor his ears song. You could only think of his huge chest with carven lid, where pale gems and gold lay hid in secret treasury in the dark ground. His strong doors were iron bound. The swords of his thanes were dull with rust, his glory fallen, his rule unjust, his halls hollow and his bowers cold, but king he was of elvish gold. He heard not the horns in the mountain pass, he smelt not the blood on the trodden grass, but his halls were burned, his kingdom lost, and a cold pit his bones were tossed. There is an old hoard in a dark rock, forgotten behind doors none can unlock. That grim gate no man can pass. On the mound rose the green grass, there sheep feed and the lark soar, and the wind blows from the seashore. The old hoard the night shall keep, while earth waits and the elves sleep.
Damn, that was fucking
Tolkien.
That's actually a...
Dude, he's great. He's got like such a good sense of like making like time happen in his writing. Like Like he like gives in the last little part there, he like gives this sense of like the fucking grass like growing over the mound, and it's like been on extremely long time. It's got like forgotten about almost, but he's also like telling you about all this shit like happening over time. It's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Awesome.
I thought that was a good poem.
He's
actually.
alright.
Yeah, I thought it was, and again, you don't hear a voice like that. I know it's because we're from a different era than him, but you listen to that, and it sounds.
What?
Like
Yeah. What is that
something you hear,
accent?
It's
Like Cambridge, like dirt. He's like very like high.
but it's
class.
like old Cambridge.
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
hear like
Yeah.
someone like when you.
At first,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is almost Scottish," but it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a little hint of it in
Yeah.
there.
I was just like, "It's
He's-
just educated. It's an
Yeah.
educated accent."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exceedingly so.
Oh yeah. Like there's a video of him and this guy walking around Cambridge, and was it Oxford or Cambridge? I think it was Cambridge. And the guy has like the most like pretentious sounding English accent.
Oh,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, it's
Wait,
like,
give me an impersonation here.
Honestly, we should
Very,
find
very
it.
good, sir.
No, do your.
Yes,
I want to hear
it's
your
like,
version
yes.
first.
I mean, like actually, it's
Yes,
horrible.
yes. I mean,
It's
really,
like-
we should be feeding the African, the Negro, their little
I should-
things. But honestly, now it's
No, it's
oh that I got a little bit of Scottish in there.
I mean, it's funny because you
it's
can't help
exceedingly
it.
brilliant,
It's
sir,
an
that-
accent.
It's exceedingly brilliant, so that
Yeah,
we
but
can
like
drink our
you
cup
can
of tea.
exaggerate your accent, though,
I guess so. Yeah.
How do I find
right?
YouTube?
It's
Yeah.
hard for us to think about it, but you can.
Do you guys think we sound more
Same, I'll
Canadian
do it
or
once.
more American nowadays?
What do you mean?
Well, because when I went to Australia, a lot of people mistook me for like an American. And
I think people initially, when I was in Europe anyways, and they guessed they got really confused because first they see me and then they hear me and they're like, wait a fucking minute. But anyways, if they were to guess just based on the kind of greeting that I said and stuff, they would think American, but then that's because they don't know the different like Canadianisms. Like I had to teach them like stuff like because like I would always mix in words like bud. Or like I would finish sentences with a and stuff, and they would start to be like, okay, now that I know you and I listen, it's like it is
You're
distinctly
Canadian.
different
Yeah.
than an American accent. And I had to be like, well, and also keep in mind that this is sort of like a West Coast sort of
That's the thing,
accent.
we sound almost
We
like
will
the-
sound different than
we
people
sound
in
like Hollywood in
Ontario.
a sense.
We'll be very different than people in
Boston.
right.
Yeah.
But the West Coast English again because of Hollywood to a lot of people sounds like the cleanest English in the world, which arguably it is. But it's because of like Hollywood movies. So people who learn languages that way in Europe and stuff like that, they're like, oh, okay. But like, yeah, I mean, this is our accent.
We definitely have a
Even like
British
funny
have an
enough,
accent.
you go to Langley and like out on like the just like BC, just like a little inland.
Yeah.
And it sounds like America. It does sound like America. I remember.
Yeah,
going to fairs
it
before.
depends. I mean,
Alberta too. They're like,
Yeah,
oh
same
yeah,
thing,
I'm
man.
getting it.
Mhm.
yeah.
They tried. It's
But
like
but the thing is, people in Washington and Oregon will sound like us. It's
Yeah.
almost like a West Coast accent.
Totally.
It's hard to break it into like.
All right, let's play this thing.
It's just like in England, there's no such thing as an English accent because there's Newcastle
Is this it?
accent,
like
Cockney,
Nottingham,
Scouse,
man. Yeah, it's
Manx,
all over the place.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Are
all
you
completely
ready for
different.
The most pretentious British accent to ever.
All right, let's hear it.
Maybe turn it.
This was all right.
It's like within a minute here. It's so funny.
Up to very English and extremely British parents.
That's not it, is it?
No, it's him talking. So.
I think that was a kind of double coming home, which made the effect of the ordinary English meadows, countryside, breaks so immensely important to me.
It's crazy looking how dreary England looks in every video.
Yeah, this is
I was,
like
on the whole,
English.
a rather puny, over-mothered, timid little creature who was not much of a success. I eventually became a fairly ordinary scholar. Turned out to be good at rugby football, all odd things.
Alright, I think this is his buddy.
Let me say at once that owing to the casualties in the war, there's, I think, very few people to elect.
I also think of the history in those bricks, man. Like how long
Yeah.
that's been around.
Do a good job for me.
Yeah. They look
Oh,
old.
I think it's coming up here.
It means to say that I was legally removed.
guy that he's walking
Yeah,
with.
yeah. It's gotta be that little piece there that you just went over.
Or is it that guy?
That's more of like it's bad. It's like a titty
Could be in the springtime when that tree that wouldn't look sad, but covered with leaves, you see.
Talk about the trees.
Golden but not sad. And these looks like kind of plain, doesn't it? Something. Whatever that tree is, and these are limes. But all the limes have such a, however old they are, they're lovely green in spring.
The building kind of remind me of the Amherst.
I think this is it.
I have always, for some reason, I don't know why, been enormously attracted by trees.
Loves them.
I suppose I have actually
Fucking loves wood.
Yeah.
Loves wood. Big
I
fan.
would like to. I should have liked to be able to make contact with the tree and find out what it feels about things. And the old Lynn says a few things, doesn't he, about feeling the sap run up and the open to the sun.
Must make contact
A lot
with
of
the
people
trees.
grow big trees from there, you see.
Hey man, if I could talk to
Much more
trees, I
there was a
would.
long line
Oh,
of
yeah.
trees, this kind only younger, all
Look
along
at
the
the
wall, so
history
you
behind
first
that.
eyes couldn't see you, you couldn't see
Like
them.
most of them
But
have boring stories though.
It was a much more secluded garden.
Sunshine this
Saw people walk by again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not even saw.
Oh, I
felt.
think this is it. It's
Those towers.
there.
Come and go. Our books
Oh my
must
God.
remain with us. She said, "Thank you very much."
Okay, we're gonna pause.
We're gonna go
pause
back.
this
We're
for
gonna try it again.
What a wanker.
Okay,
What a fucking wanker.
It's like
It's so posh.
it's so posh.
All right, so yeah.
Let's do this shit.
Oh fuck! Turn up the volume up. Jeez.
Do we have to go back? We're probably losing volume.
Who was the most British band? Also, like, who would you guys consider? Like,
The
besides,
Who
okay,
was pretty British.
Hold
I
on,
was-
hold
yeah.
on, Jamie.
It's like
besides,
Hold on.
I said, "You'll pardon me, madam, be very foolish of them." She
That
said,
accent.
"Why? Some scholars come and go."
Come and go.
She said, "Thank you very
Family
much."
Guy, it's like
I said,
dumbing
"It
down
is
the level of like laughing. It's
That's-
kind of like
It sounds like Buzz Killington.
It sounds like Family Guy. If, like, there-
Buzz Killington. There you
It sounds
go.
like Buzz Killington.
yeah,
That's literally who he sounds like.
Yeah, that's
Like it's like a very pronounced Stewie accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's like Stewie's almost meant to be like a prick, right?
Yeah.
Like a
Well, Stewie
Damn
in
it,
Family Guy
yeah.
You
actually
spoiled my grammar.
sound. His transformation is actually very
He's
interesting
evolved quite a bit,
in the
yeah.
first few seasons he's just trying to kill Lois,
Yeah.
and then like he's gotten more and more like gay,
Effeminate,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
effeminate,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
he becomes more soft and funny. Like I
Yeah.
actually really like. I didn't like Stewie the character in the first few seasons, but I think he's like the only redeemable character in the last few seasons because Family Guy's kind of like taking
I haven't
a
seen the
dive.
new episodes again.
Yeah.
It's
been
just
a
like something
while for-
I like to.
I think
I like
caught
the
up to
golden
season
years
14.
of everything. What?
I've only got to season 14.
But like Family Guy from time to
started watching
time is
American
still
American Dad's
really
fantastic.
good.
Or is it
I'm
still
only
going
on-
on, or was it canceled?
I don't know, but I'm only on episode like 4. So
Dude,
No.
I think it's a really good show because unlike Family Guy, it doesn't have the ability to cut away.
It doesn't have the cutaways.
Yeah,
Although some of the
so-
cutaways are fucking hilarious,
It's-
though.
True.
Granted, they're funny. It's like when
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane did that cavalcade of like comedy, and it's
Yeah.
just like pretty much like full hours of like cutaway gags.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah.
funny on their own, but the fact that he can actually make like a good plot and just like jokes written into the dialogue.
that's why I
is
think
really well
Futurama
done.
is so good.
Futurama is like a better version of
Yeah.
The Simpsons. I would say like to a
Futurama is so
degree.
fucking good.
Like Simpsons
Yeah.
nowadays, it's just like, oh, who's the guest we have
Yeah.
this week?
It's like Futurama, Simpsons, and like South Park. It seems like a lot of people pretty much swear by.
South Park's
But,
good.
Yeah.
South Park's genius.
Yeah, it's another like really well thought out show.
The thing of South
the
Park.
Hitler. I love that. I think that's one of the few
Yeah.
episodes. I've
One
seen.
thing,
Yeah.
one bonus
Hitler.
too that the creators have said about their animation style being like sort of like a shitty cheap production is that they can animate a show really quickly. So if
Yeah.
something controversial happens today,
Right
Yeah.
you
there.
can guarantee that
It'll
2
be-
days later it
Yeah.
will literally be the South Park episode,
Yeah.
which is so funny because he's so relevant. So anyone
Yeah.
who tunes in, even if they don't really follow news, they'll understand all the jokes in it.
Yeah.
Which is why they're so like man, they're fucking so.
And again, they always think of very outrageous
Trey
things. The Simpsons
Trey
were
Parker
still
and
like
Matt
a very,
Stone, like they're fucking geniuses.
I really want to see the musical they made, the Book of Mormons.
The creators of South
Park.
Park.
Making fun of
Mormons.
Mormons.
Yeah.
They lived in Colorado, so they'd have like Mormons knocking on their door all the time.
Oh yeah.
But it's essentially just a bit of a mockery of like, because they're like the nicest people apparently in religion, but like
they're good guys. They're just smart and funny, and they don't care if they offend people because they realize that you're not doing it right if you're not offending people with shows.
It's a reaction,
really,
and yeah, man. Again, like The Simpsons was good,
I never
but it was
understood.
still like family oriented.
You know what I don't understand is the people who watch these cartoons like The Simpsons, South Park, and Family Guy. They get offended, and then it's like, well, stop watching the fucking show. Like before the show airs, it always says viewers who are like viewers who don't like this shit. Yeah, viewer discretion is advised.
The best part they've always said as well is that every episode of South Park has like a coming back, like kind of like central theme of being like this teaches a lesson to like younger people. They've specifically said that it's like Kyle or like Stan is like the voice of reason.
Yeah,
like, well, this shitty thing happened.
Yeah, because Cartman's an antagonist.
Yeah, he's like
and Kenny's the gag that keeps on fucking dying. Like that's literally it's like a perfect set of guys.
Yeah.
And then they have good side characters. Like I think I love Butters. I think Butters is one of the best characters in the show.
Underdog.
Yeah, Butters. My favorite character is fucking Randy, man.
I'm so glad I got alone with that.
Yeah.
Randy Marsh is so good. Like
I love Chef too. What was Caleb? Caleb was saying something.
About
Chef.
Chef. The guy that played him. What's his name? Chris Isaac, I believe his name is. Like 70s kind of singer. He was so down with like making fun of everything else, but as soon as they wanted to make an episode about making fun of Scientology, he quit because he's a Scientologist.
Right.
So the next episode they made with him was like all like voice clips from like the original episodes with him,
right?
Because they own the rights to them.
Yeah.
And pretty much they made Chef out to be like a man boy loving. There's like something called the Adventure Club where you just like go and like have sex
and
with
that's
little boys.
Yeah.
And they killed him off because they couldn't have him anymore. But
yeah,
kind of funny though.
Hey, honestly though, that's like a huge like fuck you to that guy. Like that's obviously.
But it is also a huge
but
fuck you to like,
Scientology's a scam.
The world to like say that like I'm cool with you making fun of everything except something that personally affects me.
Is just a huge.
You should be able to laugh at everything.
Yeah, like you'll like make fun of like Mormons and you'll make fun of everyone, but you won't make fun of your own fucking stupid cult.
It's not even a cult. Scientology, I'm pretty convinced, is just a money laundering front for rich people.
Easily, man. Dude, and so is Christianity, man. Look at
there's certain states where Scientology owns more property than the state than any other group.
Like the members of Scientology,
same with the
overwhelmingly,
man.
People of high net worth. I swear it's a thing where
they build buildings, but there's only like 50,000 Scientologists. Like their membership is going down, but they keep just building, so they make property.
I swear Scientology.
They sell that, it's gonna be worth trillions.
It's a thing where you don't just join it.
It's insane. It's property.
Funny enough,
you don't just join it. I feel like once you reach a certain US dollar net worth, people are like join Scientology.
Yeah.
Pretend it's religion, but really you just won't pay tax.
Tom Cruise, man.
Tom Cruise.
Easily, all these big celebrities, John Travolta, Tom Cruise. I think
because you can donate your money to the church, and donations are tax free.
Yeah, and then it goes back to you.
And it goes back to you.
It's sold as
and then you're a spokesperson for them.
I don't know if you guys listen to Leah Remini or Muscovich on Joe Rogan.
I get that they have to have some sort of like face for it to cover things up, but all it really is, and I have no proof of this, but it just seems too likely given that all the rich famous people that swear by Scientology, that it's a thing where you take your money, you donate millions of dollars to this church. Parentheses for all of you listeners. And then it's like, well, donations aren't taxable, right? Donations are tax credits. You can't be taxed on money you give away on donations. And then it's like, and then the Scientology redistributes it, more parentheses. But all it does is that it's redistributed to the people based on how much you donate. So you get all your money back, and you do it again the next tax year, and the next tax year. And what are people going to do about it? And it's why it's so prominent in the U.S. too, because
but it's also not even just donations. Like they have to pay for the courses because they take courses. It's like a.
But
sorry. Did I mention that tuition is a credit too?
Yeah.
Tuition is a credit too. Did I mention that?
I have a question about your theory here. So the church quote unquote redistributes the quote unquote donations.
Something like that. I don't know how it works.
I'm sure
hold on. I've never heard. The reason I'm questioning this theory is so that we can actually think about this and go ahead with it. So all income is taxable, right?
Not all income.
Not all income?
Not all income.
Donations?
Donations aren't income, though.
But they are income, especially if...
Donations... No, but like... But if... No. But the thing is, if you receive donations as a business, and you can justify that... Well, this is in Canada. I don't know how it works in... I don't know how it works in USA.
Right? So any money they get...
But it's money laundering. It's money laundering for...
I mean, when it goes back to the individual.
Right.
Here's what I mean. I'm not sure that... I don't know. If they are doing it as a tax scheme, then obviously they're bending rules and being illegal anyways.
Well, it's a church anyway.
But how I understand it is if Scientology is a private corporation, let's say it's a private corporation, right? And the individuals, members of the church, Tom Cruise donates $10 million to Scientology. So those $10 million that Cruise donates, not taxable for him. He does not get taxed on that $10 million, even if he made that money from a movie, because he's paid it out as a donation. Now, Scientology, now let's just say, I don't know how it works specifically in the US. I'm actually not even that sure in Canada, although I should know this because I'm doing business. But if you receive donation money as a business, I'm pretty sure it's not taxable. But even if it is, let's just say it is, business tax rates far lower than individual tax rates, especially for millionaires that are in the highest tax bracket where tax is like 45-50%, and in the US the corporate tax rate is currently at 35%. So even if it is taxed and then redistributed, everyone still pays less tax. And when you're talking about a 15% difference on millions of dollars, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. But it's a church,
yeah.
They, like the Church of Scientology cannot be taxed.
Exactly, since Scientology is recognized,
whatever.
And they can do shady under the table dealings. What are they going to do? No one understands Scientology anyways.
I was wondering actually when you're saying that if it is run as a corporation, then does that mean that these donations?
If it's private, if it's a private company, if it's a private company, it's shareholders, you just redistribute it as dividends.
Yeah, there you go.
And dividends, by the way, dividends in Canada.
Does that have to be publicly listed though? Like if it's even if
no, private corporations can still have shareholders. You just
yeah, but like dividends though, those are income then.
Yeah, but dividends are taxed at lower than like salaried income.
Okay.
So if you pay, well, in Canada anyways, but I imagine the IRS operates in the similar fashion to the CRA. Like in Canada, dividends are taxed at a more favorable rate than your... And if you sell shares, they're capital gains, which are taxed at half your rate. Right. In Canada anyways. But as long as the Americans follow some sort of similar scheme, Scientology is abusing all of that. Mm-hmm. If my theory is true, which I'm not sure, but it's the only thing that fucking makes sense for it.
Yeah,
because the thing is, and it's not, I'm not the only one that thinks this. There's tons of people who think this, and there's enough evidence to back it up. What other religion in the world has almost exclusively high-profile members that have tons of fucking money? Mm-hmm. Right? You and I aren't going to sign up for Scientology because...
You have to pay for
Exactly.
There are also poor people who are in Scientology.
It's true.
Because they're brainwashed.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
They need some people to be followers to cover up the stuff that hires... Honestly, it's like Christianity.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I hate to say it, but it's like the priests get away with fucking murder, but that's fine because, look, these people that believe...
The highest member of the Catholic Church, good friend of the Pope, looked this up, just recently got arrested for pedophilia charges. No surprise. No surprise.
Are you the Australian guy?
No.
Because there's an Australian guy, he's like one of the highest ranking... He's the highest ranking from Australia, but he's going to go back to Australia to be tried for... pretty much negligence of child abuse.
I know Australia has like a huge like Scientology population as well. Huh. That's funny enough. Weird connection. Like I saw a lot of churches to Scientology when I was in Melbourne.
Really?
I want to go to one at one point.
I liked how you said Melbourne.
Melbourne. It's because no one calls it Melbourne.
Yeah.
They actually use like the accent Melbourne.
I've heard Melbourne.
Yeah, mate.
Dirty Aussies.
But like part of me wanted to go and like check out a Scientology church and just like talk bullshit for like 20 minutes and be like, everything I said was made up. Are you sure that they're reading my energies right?
Right.
but I was also afraid that they would still like find a way to track my information.
I wouldn't be too worried.
Personally,
no, sorry, I'm not going to join your cult.
I'd just rather stay out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather be an outsider than like in the know of it, because I've seen like what they can do to people.
Yeah. They don't let you leave if you're like.
No, once you're in it, you're in.
But like apparently like.
Well, even with the lower people, they don't let you leave.
Right.
No, man, they blackmail every person.
Yeah.
They pretty much like get dirt.
Like the Leah Remini podcast with Joe Rogan was mind blowing. Like there's a compound and then like they literally had to escape. Like they like it's terrifying. Or is it Ron Muscovich? It was one of the two, and they literally had to escape.
How fucked is that you join something thinking you're doing something better for yourself, and then just like realize that I'd rather get out of this because I realize how shitty it is.
Well, like that would take so much because like you're basically like deeply invested. You're like, this is your life. You're like,
you think it's doing better.
Yeah,
for you.
you're like you've done it for 20 years kind of thing, and then all of a sudden you realize like, wait a minute, this is like not good for me. I don't like this. Like. But then everyone you know, like everything you're used to.
All your friends, essentially, your circle group of friends.
Yeah, like everyone you know. It's like such a tight group. It's like a church. It's like being excommunicated from your church is like the most terrifying thing because everyone you know is in your church. Like, but it's more and more not like that. When people have access to computers, you meet people online. You talk to people in your own town.
You even look at it from like the other side of like the glass and say like this is almost free and I'm getting away from something that's like keeping me trapped in this jar.
Yeah, like the daughter of or the granddaughter of Fred Phelps, or is it Fred Phelps?
That's the original guy from that like at the West Baptist.
That just died a year or two ago.
Good.
He good riddance, but she ended up running away from the church like with her sister, and like one of her brothers ran away like years before that. But like same idea. Everyone she knew was like basically in that church, in that community, like 200 or 300 people or so. Most of them like some kind of extended family, and like she had to like leave her entire life behind because she was on Twitter arguing with this guy that was like a Jew, and he started like turning her on to like how her like fundamentalist ideas were actually not coherent with the Bible as he read it, and then she starts she got different ideas from the fucking internet, and like the more that happens, like the more people are exposed to the internet and different ideas. Like I feel like the world will be more multicultural. That's just like a simple fact. And
they say atheism is like the third like largest like they call it religion, but it's not a religion. It says like there's Christianity, Muslims, and then apparently atheism.
By definition it's not a religion.
Yeah.
It's so hilarious when people say like,
oh, you're an atheist. Oh, you're gonna go to the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Religion. Yeah. Atheism as a religion is. What? Wait,
some
people argue that?
Some people
sorry.
No, they
argue that?
They call it a religion, apparently.
No, it's not. It's atheism is literally a lack of belief.
Yeah.
So it's not a...
Theism.
Theism.
Yeah.
It's like you are not a theist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
There's also anti-theism.
Yeah.
What?
Anti-theism, what is that?
Well, it's like being...
It's
not just atheist, but like...
It's not agnostic as well.
It's like you're actually actively against religion.
Yeah, or against theism.
I know. I'm agnostic.
I'm actually not against religion. I personally...
That's a better way to
whenever
put it.
Someone says that, like, when you talk about religion, don't smudge, like, a religious person is a theist, someone who believes in God, who, that... if you're not, then you're going to get really wishy...
multi-theist person. It's not just God, it's God.
Yeah, God is a bad word for it, actually, I will say.
Yeah.
It's God. Theism is the belief in deities. Deity or deities.
Yeah.
I'd have to say I'm agnostic.
And so you could be...
I don't fight it...
But you could still believe in the rocks and roots and stones, the old gods, so to speak.
Now, what made you agnostic, actually?
What made me agnostic is that I have no proof that God exists, but I also have no proof that he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Or that multiple gods exist.
Right.
And I'm going to just make this completely clear. If somehow it was proven that God exists, it would not blow my mind. Because I don't think it's actually that hard to grasp that, look, the Big Bang. Well, what the fuck caused the Big Bang? If someone told me that there's proof that there's this thing that's a greater power than us,
Couldn't
and
you
it's
almost
called
call like the Big Bang
We
God? It's just like a different word for like,
right,
the same
but what?
thing
But like
almost,
but for me, it's like if this happens and there's no God and we can conclusively prove it, cool. That's like that doesn't shock me. But if it's like this happened because someone higher power than us decided to create this, wouldn't shock me either. Right? It's just I have no proof of one or the other, and to me, I'm open to idea. I'm not closed-minded enough to say that I believe in God, but I'm also not closed-minded enough to say that, well, just because there's no proof for him, that must mean he doesn't exist. Both sides are actually flawed because we have no proof of either, and until we do, you can't conclusively say one or the other. I think
the difference in positions, though, is that the atheist simply claims that all the evidence for God is bullshit.
Right.
And
they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
God.
Right.
What is your definition of God?
I don't know.
Curious.
Higher power.
So there's about the pro for argument. There's a valid preference in terms of logic preference for the negative assertion. Because for a positive assertion is saying that God does exist, you have to.
But most atheists, I think, are misidentifying themselves as atheists.
Yeah, probably.
You're actually agnostic because I think most atheists, if they were given conclusive proof that there was a God,
as a rational human being,
you would not like the people who say that there's no effing way that God can exist. In my mind, are as stupid as the people who are convinced that God exists.
Now, and that goes back to Jamie's point. What is your definition of God? Now, I say the Bible's definition of God cannot possibly logically exist.
No, it's true.
The Bible,
it's true.
Like,
it's true. No one. There's no such thing. There's already proof
on my foot, motherfucker.
If
God catch him for so long.
If God exists, he's not omnibenevolent.
There cannot possibly omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent being.
And the proof is there for that, but there's no proof that God is.
Man, okay, in society, there's us and there's people who are sociopaths. They're not evil, like, it's just by nature.
What if, and the thing is, what if...
question is, then, why, one of the reasons I'm so against religion, specifically organized religion, is if God is not omnibenevolent, why the fuck are we worshipping him?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, sure, in the sense we can't
whoa, hang on a sec, but that the thing is, these people that are worshiping him believe he's omnibenevolent, and that's all that fucking matters, right? Now, here's the thing, like, if God turned out to be real, and if God was real, it would be more likely a scenario where he's like you and me, just he happens to have fucking unreal power and create stuff, but he's not perfect. He's not all good. He might be more perfect than we are, but he's not all good. Right, I think the world as it is has proven that. Another interesting thing to think about. Now, I've talked about this with some friends. Another interesting to think about is that people argue that, oh, shit like the Holocaust must mean that God is not omnibenevolent. He can't be all good because he's supposed to be everywhere, so he's supposed to...
Well, it's almost
now,
like it's being
my
neutral.
point is this. I could see someone, if God was completely real and he was omnibenevolent, but he could not be omnipresent or omnipotent, the Holocaust has a legitimate explanation. Yeah. Oh shit, God was working on other stuff, he fell asleep.
If God is not omnipotent or omnipresent... if he's not omnipotent...
I don't know, I would...
not omnipotent, why are we worshipping him? If
he's omnibenevolent, I can understand worshipping a god.
Why worship him again?
If he's omnibenevolent, but we realize he's not all powerful. You know what it's sort of like?
He's not all powerful. So
he's not all powerful.
Is it the nature of the human condition to rebel against power if we can win? If he's not omnipotent... If he's not all powerful...
Well, there's still something that if we could conclusively prove that God was real and that he created us...
This just reminds me of Nietzsche.
There should still be something compelling you to be like, well, he's the reason I'm alive.
You guys still have an answer. What is your definition of God? Because God is like...
I don't know.
It's only a word in a sense. It could be creator. It could be like anything.
What would your definition
of being much higher than us?
The simple explanation is that
higher power in a sense.
Higher power.
The simplest way of saying it is like Hume is like there's a natural explanation of the universe, but this is a supernatural explanation. So it's it's not part of the natural universe. It's saying that there has to
Right.
be something outside.
Like
It's
what,
almost
what
like the
is
unknown of things.
yeah,
okay.
Which
what
you
is or
can't
isn't
comprehend it.
God? That's the
Well,
thing. We
that's-
don't have proof of anything,
Right.
really.
This is the thing.
But
actually,
but when you read like these holy books, oh well, God did it in 6 days.
Anthropomorphizing.
Well, it's like that's a pretty we're talking about like an actor, but they're not part of the natural world. They're not geology making the mountains happen. It's God creating.
Right.
It's like an active.
So that's
it's
why
like another
that's
force.
why
Like
the
it's
only-
like
yeah.
it's not just like
Well, I just listened to this thing.
I think
on
you were
Joe
saying
Rogan
earlier,
talking about, like,
the only
bananas
natural
are proof
God-
of God's creation, like
Yeah.
that they're meant to go in our mouth, and they're like so you can peel them. They're a nice
Yeah.
color, like the
Mhm.
whole.
That goes back to your point earlier, though, that the only natural being there can be is the Big Bang. Because everything logically,
technically
according
to
to the
me
laws
is
of the
God,
universe,
is the Big
actually
Bang. That's
comes
the beginning.
from the Big Bang,
right.
right? Because anything other than the Big Bang and the chain of events that followed would have to be, by definition, outside of the natural realm.
Yeah.
Kind
Because
of,
it's not
yeah,
in
yeah.
the chain of events.
Unless
Well-
you like theoretically, like
What-
well, because like
Okay, think about it.
'Cause
So
physics,
you have your
you talk
prime
about
mover
what caused-
and you have your
Yeah.
moved.
yeah.
As soon as they interact, they're like even
Yeah.
before and after the point of interaction, they're completely different.
Right. Well, apparently the whole thing is like time didn't exist until the universe existed, right? So there's no sense of talking about before the
Oh,
universe.
it just turned on. Sorry, it's
No,
a
I
sticky
said
button.
it's okay.
I haven't
yeah.
used it here.
No, I said it's okay though, just like
I just gotta say, I gotta bounce in a bit, so.
a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, like I don't know. It's because like it's always like for me, it's like we're religious people. It's like you try to like ask them about some of these things, and they'll just like they'll like bring everything. Oh no, I'm not claiming that I know that God did this in 6 days. And then they bring it down to a very weird theoretical low level where like their beliefs. It's like, do you really believe that or not?
I hate arguing about
That
religion,
it
though.
is
I just-
really
what is the
horrible.
point?
It's such a useless thing. My thing is like I believe that the universe is like a natural thing. It didn't take something special to
I
do
think
it.
it's-
It was something crazy, but it doesn't mean it's supernatural. It's something
No.
that makes something
Well,
that makes
the
it
universe
in
on
my
its own
view-
is absolutely
Like-
is impossible to comprehend, and so that's
Yeah.
by definition
Yeah.
crazy. It's almost supernatural in scale in the sense that we cannot comprehend it.
Yeah.
That's where,
Yeah.
as a
but it's still
former
natural.
atheist, I actually see God as everything that I don't understand.
Right.
Only in the sense, like, I would never go to church in my lifetime, but to me, God, and I only say that again in parentheses,
Or could you
Is-
also say Mother Nature?
you could say Mother Nature, Creator, you could say this Satan, man, like, whatever you want to call it, it's just a fucking textbook definition of it, but in the end, it's just everything that you almost don't understand in a way.
Right, but isn't that the God of the gaps argument? Because then, like, we don't know what, like, say, for example, black holes, we had no idea what the fuck was going on. So
We
they're
s-
like,
we
"Hey,
still
it's
don't
God.
really know."
It's God's
Mhm.
making it happen. But it's like, no, we actually found out that it's
But
this is
once
what
you find
happens.
out, then it's not God, I guess, in
But
a
then-
sense, it
but
would be.
then-
But I'm only
yeah.
calling it God in the sense that, like, it's not, like, again, it's not a guy with a white beard or anything.
No.
It's just whatever I don't understand, in a sense, to
Right.
me.
Why don't you just say it's whatever
it's
you
like-
don't understand?
Yeah.
Well,
because
that's the thing is,
what it is.
I only call it God because nowadays it's like, that's kind of like the textbook definition of, like, the higher power of things.
Right.
Again, like, a black
Yeah.
hole to me is almost like
Yeah.
maybe a demigod in a sense because I don't
Yeah.
fully understand it.
Yeah.
It
But
could
why-
fucking
but
kill
the-
you in an
but
instant.
the
Yeah.
assumption that
Why does
it's
there
like
have to
the
be a higher
scientific
power?
assumption is that
Well,
is
it's
that
only a
the
higher
natural
power
world-
to
It doesn't
destroy
have
me
to
in a
be.
sense. I'm pretty
Yeah.
similar.
Well, see,
to
this
a
is what
fucking
happens.
black
This
hole.
is what happens with like any discussion in religion is that it's like, well, is it God or is it not? But here's like, this is how I stay out of this kind of stuff. It's like, well, we don't fucking know either way.
Right.
Yeah.
Just live your life. It is what it is. If we one day find conclusive proof of either or, that's the end of the discussion, right?
Yeah.
That is the end.
Yeah.
But as of right now, you're literally going to just get 50% of people being like, well, it could be religious. Well, 50% of people could be like, well, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in reality, it might be a combo of the two. We don't even fucking
True.
know that.
Actually, that's a good
Right?
point.
And
That's a good point.
so maybe God writes the rules of physics, but what we discover through it,
Yeah.
well, that's up to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it literally is 50-50,
Well, it
right?
just
Like,
pisses
I don't
me off
know.
when people make claims that are like
Right, no.
simply false. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
It's like the Earth, God created the Earth in
Yeah,
6
that's
days,
simply
and
false.
6 years old.
That's
It's like,
only based on one
that's-
book as well.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
stupid
simply
idea that
false,
is.
but to
That's-
also,
yeah.
but to
it's just
say,
an
like,
objective claim.
Yeah.
God
it's
is
a claim.
definitely not real is also simply
Right.
false.
Yeah.
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 because you don't know.
It's like saying something that you don't know. It'd be like
Yeah.
saying like there's a giraffe on Mars right now. Well, it might be. Like,
Right.
It's possible there might be a fossil.
We don't have
Yeah.
evidence against it. We don't have evidence.
The
for
problem
it.
with religious
Yeah.
statements,
Second thing.
the problem with religious statements is like we don't know if it's true. We literally don't know one or the
But
other.
I
We
also-
know what's plausible, but we
Yeah.
can't rule anything out.
I personally hate religion because it tells you how to live your life. Again, I think you should live
Yeah.
your life to your own degree, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm sure there's something bigger than just me. There's the
well,
sun.
one kind of funny thing that it's just like with the commandments of Christianity, it's like, all right, so Christianity tells me not to steal, not to kill. That's all great, but did I really need a book to tell me that? Like, as a human
that's
fucking
morality,
being,
yeah,
should I
that's
just
like
know
social
that if I were to
yeah.
take this fucking bottle and smash it over Malcolm's head right now, that's probably kind of a
Well,
shitty thing to do.
Hitchens-
Should I just not
Christopher
know
Hitchens,
that?
He said he was like, what is like asking.
Maybe I
religious
don't know
people-
that otherwise.
He asked religious people, if you found out that all your holy book and your myths were false, would you go and murder and steal? No, of course not, because you're a sensible human being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's not the book and the beliefs that make you do it. It's just that it's
Right.
part of our
Society.
nature.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a society. It's your
Well,
humanity.
yeah.
We're
We as
fucking-
humans, we're not like
Yeah.
we're not fully dog
We
eat
evolved.
dog, right?
We
Yeah.
evolved to.
We've
Yeah,
evolved to the
hopefully,
point
yeah.
where we know as a very young kid, we know that, like, it doesn't matter what religion you are, fucking punching someone in the face, that's just, don't do
Kind of a
that.
dick move.
Yeah,
right?
don't do
Yeah.
that, right?
Well,
Like,
it's
you're
also
either an
like,
asshole
if
or
I
you're
do
not,
that, then
right?
he might do
Yeah.
it back to me.
Right.
Right? There's
No,
that
we've
consideration.
learned. We've
And that's where
learned.
religion's kind of funny because again, like they mean well, I think, in their heads.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time,
All-
they're
no,
being an
all
asshole
religions-
in the process of it.
All religions, for the most part, at least the
their
major
own.
Even
religions,
ISIS. Even
on
ISIS
on
is
on
like-
paper,
they think
on
they're-
paper,
Mhm.
it's great. But you know what else is great on paper? Communism.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
fucking worked
Fuck,
out.
even democracy is,
Yeah.
like or
Everything
capitalism, sorry, not
looks
democracy.
beautiful on paper, but
My
All
bad.
of
we
it.
don't live our
Yeah,
world on
That's another-
paper.
That's a whole other
It's-
topic.
it's-
Democracy is the same thing.
All the things.
Democracy
That's-
is the
on
worst
paper
of,
looks
the
good.
worst of the worst, except for all the other options.
Yeah. It's
Everything
Yeah.
on
I guess
paper
they're-
sounds
they all have their
brilliant.
flaws, is the simplified
Right,
version.
but practicality-
Just like religion, they all have
Yeah.
their fucking flaws.
But like I don't know, when I read when you look at certain holy books and like you read word for word, gay people should be stoned. It's like
Fuck.
you're telling me this is your holy book. Like, do you have any fucking integrity? Like, and then if you do, like, how do you explain that away? Because that's
And
what
then-
they do. They try to say, oh well, it's metaphorical. It's like,
What was it?
doesn't
I
look
think
like it.
Back
Like,
to the
it
Catholic
doesn't.
Church, man. How many Catholic priests and maybe nuns as well are homosexual in nature? Like, they can't control it, but the fact they're attracted to them, they still just
You know
say,
what's-
like they like confess at the end of the day, and they're
Yeah.
still gay.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the thing with democracy, communism, Islam, Christianity, on paper, all looks great, right? In theory, it's all great. There's a really good quote, and I'm gonna paraphrase here because I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but there was a quote from like Yogi Berra. He used to be a legendary catcher, and then in baseball, and then he went on to manage teams. And one of his quotes was, "In theory, practicality is perfect, but in practice, theory is completely imperfect."
That-
Right?
Yeah.
Does that
That's like
um
Plato almost, where like
that's like-
there's like the theory is
right,
like,
because
perfect,
in
and the
theory,
practice is always
in
wrong.
in theory, communism looks great. In theory, Christianity is great. In theory, democracy is great. In theory, the better team should win every single game.
Yeah.
In theory,
Yeah.
but why do we not
Yeah.
care about things in theory? Because when we actually do them, crazy shit happens.
The real
Stalin
winners
happens
don't
out of
apply.
communism.
Yeah.
Trump happens out of democracy.
Yeah.
Fucking the Crusades happen out of Christianity. And somehow the Washington Capitals can never win a Stanley Cup. And but like in theory, these things should all not be. These things should not be things we're talking about.
Yeah.
But when we put everything to practice, random shit happens. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this. Not everyone agrees with Christianity.
This shit is
Oh, look
passing
at this.
away, couldn't
It
play
is
well.
impossible to have everyone at equal ground because by nature, I'm different than you, you're different than me, even though as human beings, we're human beings.
Yeah.
Right? And oh, look, one unlucky bounce off the boards, the puck is in the net. You don't account for that shit. It literally just happens. And then you got to move on and deal with it.
I always think
There's
back
the
to
quote right there, by the way. In theory, there is no difference between theory and practice.
There we go. In practice, there is.
Well,
there is.
There,
yeah.
Like I said-
that's a brilliant quote.
I always think back to when I was welding. You'd have an engineer come up to you with like these plans, be like, "This will work,"
Right.
And as soon as you start building it, you're like, this is not going to work.
God
You
damn
can figure
it.
this out.
Right.
There's flaws in everything.
No one,
right?
they
Yeah,
didn't
it's-
design the tower in Pisa to be fucking leaning, but there you go.
Yeah.
Right?
They didn't consider.
So
It's
there
always,
you go.
The real world always has more factors than we can think of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like why
There's
they,
too many
there's,
variables.
Like, nuclear power plants that break down.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, we forgot about that one bolt that.
Yeah,
fucked up
no,
the
for
cooling
local, they
system.
didn't. Yeah, they didn't
No.
design the Empress to sink an inch every
They
fucking
forgot
year,
about
but
the
they
sand.
do.
If only they knew about the
Yeah.
sand, they could have freaking done something.
Right, but like, what could they do? And honestly, like Empress, they just still did a pretty fucking good job, right?
Yeah.
It just isn't perfect in theory, but nothing is.
And that's kind of a beautiful thing. I would hate to see something that's completely perfect.
Well, that's the idea
That's-
of heaven,
Right,
right? That's
like,
the idea of
the
heaven.
I don't know,
How
eternal
glorious.
bliss.
Well,
in a way,
and that's the
sounds kinda
thing.
lame,
Why
but
do you go
everyone's
to a
thinking the
live
same
concert?
way.
Why do you go to live concerts knowing full well they could fuck up and not sound as good as on the track where they get to redo it all
It's
the time?
giving their full vulnerability
Well,
for them.
that's
right?
Because
That's
that's
the whole
part of the
entertainment thing.
show. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like even if they
Exactly.
do fuck up, everybody's like, yeah.
Who
Yeah.
cares,
No,
right?
it's
They're-
always-
Again,
When
it's
Ozzy-
letting
when
yourself be
Ozzy voice
vulnerable.
cracked.
Everyone's vulnerable, but it's the fact that you're actually presenting yourself as vulnerable. You can relate
Yeah.
to that, right?
And then when the band nails it and they do it without any fuck ups, that's when it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
what we go
Easily,
for.
man.
Yeah, like when
That's what we
Ozzy
go
had voice
for.
cracks, like everyone is actually screaming. It was awesome. We're like, fuck yeah, Ozzy.
Yeah, he's
He's
like
not
us.
because
You're
you know he
still
can.
going.
He's
Yeah.
done it in the 70s. He can do it
Yeah.
again, right? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Only 40 years ago.
He's
yeah.
crapping out.
But
Hey man, but it's still him in the end.
Oh, yeah,
Whether or
It's
not
amazing, yeah.
age could not make a difference. You
When I
think
saw
of like,
him, I could have sworn he was wearing a diaper, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, he probably.
yeah,
But still,
Honestly,
dude,
the chances
was-
are pretty high.
he was totally so into it. Like,
Honestly,
he was
though,
so
He couldn't
Good.
just shit
The
his
passion,
pants. He
man.
doesn't care.
yeah.
Right? Like you don't need a diaper. When
He's
you're
getting
Ozzy.
paid.
you,
fat
hey
stacks
man,
of
you can use a
cash.
diaper all you want as long as you're
Yeah.
true to yourself, man. If you want to shit yourself on stage, that's
That's what I
good.
mean. Like,
Yeah,
why
it's
not
just-
just shit yourself without the diaper? Like, at that point, you're Ozzy, dude.
It's like,
Just-
alright,
just- you
alright,
should
guys,
just pull
this
down
next
his
number
pants
sold.
and pop a
Oh,
squat.
wait a minute.
Just
This
fucking
is-
pop a squat right
Dude,
there,
it's
bitch, off the love on
dripping down the
stage.
leg.
Next
For
thing you know, we got
everyone
like
to
G.G.
see.
Allen's like
Oh.
taking tips from him.
Dude, a song called Brown Blues. That'd be
Oh
good.
my god.
That'd be great.
Oh.
It's like about
Long
like shit
Toke
yourself.
Blues beats
Yeah.
Brown Blues.
Dude.
Oh my god.
Mm.
Dude.
Bong Took Blues. Let's put that song on, actually. And again, I want to ask you guys, what have you guys been listening to lately, music-wise?
What have I been listening to? A little bit of Metallica.
Metallica.
Ride
Okay.
the Lightning.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Mm-hmm. Yourself.
A little bit. I was actually sampling some, going back over some of the what's it called? The last Metallica album.
Oh.
No, the newest one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hardware to Self-Destruct.
Yeah.
Just listen to some of that again. Some Primus, some Motorhead, some
Yeah.
Megadeth, some Anthrax, and
Metal.
some Tool.
Nice, okay.
I was just listening to Tool today, actually. Oh, and
I'm,
Radiohead yesterday too.
I'm heavily invested in the rap game right now.
Dude,
Nice.
nice. Man, I
Yeah,
swear
shit.
rap is,
Yeah.
it's been the future for a while, but like, it is
Yeah.
new rock.
I
It
think
is
I
rock
think
and
one
rock,
I
yeah.
think one thing with the advent of like trap and the sort of mumbly shit, but people are getting into it because they're like
shit.
but
Fucking
like
shit.
people like stuff like Mask Off and EXO Tour Life, like it's just so catchy.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I don't know, I'm delving more deeper in that stuff. And other things I've been listening to include like a lot of indie bands. I've been listening to a lot of Arctic Monkeys.
Nice.
Arctic Monkeys, and I've always, one of my favorite bands, maybe my favorite band is Oasis, so I always listen to them.
Fuck yeah.
I think Oasis is a very, very good band. Yeah, I mean, I always listen to a mix of things. I have Spotify Premium.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
let's go.
It's the
So
way to
if
find new
Spotify, if
music,
you
man.
somehow
You can
listen to
find
this,
some
sponsor
good.
me, because fuck, it's an
Yeah.
amazing thing, man.
Yeah. We'll do some ads.
Yeah, we need to plug in some ads. Plug in some
Yeah.
local shit. Dude, they wouldn't even need to pay me much. There's so many things that I'm already willing to plug, like, locally.
We'd
like,
probably make a sell
all the
with
breweries
access.
around here, man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Coin,
Pay-
Phillips.
yeah.
Like,
We're
man, I'll suck your dick
drinking,
for free.
Wolf Brewery.
Like,
give me one fat
just
tug and I will
give me free.
I will give
Yeah, give me
fat tugs
free
there.
growlers.
Not
Fat
even a
tugs there.
free
Fat
beer,
tugs
and
there.
I would-
One fat
do
tug.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll verbally suck your dick for free growlers. Like, I'll do it. Like,
We'll get some filthy
Coin-
executive
Category 12.
Point
I
dark
heard
matter.
They just released a new raw
When I
ale.
was
It looks like
younger-
it's actually in a wine
Point
bottle.
dark matters like cracked me, man. Like
Yeah, man.
fuck.
I want to be sponsored by Happy Planet when I was younger. It's like a Vancouver company. I'm like, oh fuck, all the
Yeah.
free
Is
juice
that-
I can
yeah,
imagine.
the juice,
Please.
Yeah.
Fuck, free shit's
Mayor
amazing.
Gregor Robinson, I will jerk
Yeah.
off to you.
Yeah. Peninsula Pizza, if you want to sponsor me for free pizza,
Yo,
You
yeah.
give them
your
free pizza?
pulled pork. No, they give me free pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Your
Oh,
pulled
yeah.
pork barbecue
Peninsula?
pizza.
Ah,
You say
Peninsula
Peninsula?
is the tits, man.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
JRR,
I
pulled-
swear I
the
wasn't
pulled
paid by
pork
them to do
pizza.
that.
Yeah, no.
It's-
Honestly,
The
like,
pulled
shout
pork
out to
pizza
Peninsula
is
Pizza.
so fucking good.
It's so good. They
Like,
make
I want
really
it
amazing
right
pizza.
now.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe we should follow Billy get some pizza.
This could be at the end of the podcast and the beginning of some great taste buds. But I don't know how
'Cause you're
long this
worth
goes
it.
for, yeah.
Honestly,
But
We're
before
pretty
we
in
go,
there.
I
Yeah,
saw
what do we have
Changa up
for
here.
time?
Yeah, I saw some Changa up here as well.
Oh, Changa. Yeah, so.
Now that's a DMT kind of, is that not
Yeah, it's a mix.
very similar?
Changa,
Yeah.
pronounced Changa, is a DMT-infused smoking blend. Typically, extracts from acacia trees or other DMT-containing plants are combined with MAOI-containing herbs and typically ayahuasca vine and or leaf to create a mix that is 20 to 50% DMT, akin to a smokable ayahuasca.
damn.
Invented in Australia
Now
in the early
bullshit to say it's invented in
2000s,
Australia. I will say
Changa
that.
has been rapidly growing in popularity due to the nature of consumption, stronger effects, and
Is it
longer
a plant?
duration when compared to free-based DMT crystal.
Wait, is it a plant or a chemical?
It's a mix.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
it's
how'd you
it's got
invent
the,
a
it's got the chemical DMT in
The
it.
reason
but,
I
like,
have this up is because I saw this snap from Dean Fast, and he said it's one of his friend's little container, and it's got a bunch of Changa in it.
Huh.
So I was like, where the fuck do you get that? And she's like, well,
you make it, right?
I don't know. She said, yeah, if you can access the ingredients, yes, but
Mhm.
otherwise it's
So it lasts longer than normal DMT. That'd be pretty interesting. It's like it's more mild, but it lasts longer. It would be like that'd be a hell of a trip.
makes me want to
Yeah.
go camping.
Yeah.
Well,
we did
well,
acid.
yeah.
I'm working next weekend.
Oh, did you get the camping
Yeah.
trip? How was
we did,
that?
We did some acid like
Fuck, yeah.
around like noon.
Where did
like,
you go?
Up to like
What
Fairy
hill?
Lake in Renfrew.
Fairy Lake, dude.
Yeah,
Beautiful
it was
place.
amazing. It was like
Where did you go?
it was like really good
I'm
weather.
sorry, who with?
Just like Lily, Molly, and Cam.
Oh, it was just
Fucking-
you four.
Just us four.
Dude,
so it was like
nice.
a perfect little like group for doing some psychedelics, but
Decent.
it was like we dropped it like noon, like maybe towards 1 o'clock. So it was like all day long, chilled at the beach, and like, fuck man, it was super awesome. Like I kind of wish I did some more. We just did one hit for the most part. Molly did 1.5, but man,
Yeah,
it's
one of my
psychedelics are
coworkers
a great time. Like you just sit there and like you have the like most amazing insights in the whole goddamn world. It's like.
And you
sitting
wonder
there,
why it's
like,
illegal.
oh,
You
It was a-
start
it was
thinking
a
instead of
friggin'
just
great
like dulling
time.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
That last show that you guys played at
Yeah.
your place, Jamie.
Yeah.
Dropped acid there. Holy fuck, that
Just
was
like-
awesome.
It was
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm glad the acid actually works. I
It
was
was
afraid
so
that it wasn't
fucking
gonna do
fun.
anything there.
Yeah.
Like it was a little bit weird at times. I remember I was sitting.
But isn't that always acid? He goes like
Yeah.
ups and
Yeah.
downs, be like,
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of
Oh,
fucked
yeah.
up, but I love
I was
it.
sitting.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the lawn chair, and some girl comes up to me, and she's pointing at her belly button, and I do not understand. I do not understand.
Yeah.
And it turns out that like the next day, I was like reasoning. She's like, she probably lost her belly button ring, and she was asking me
Oh.
if I saw it, and I was like, I don't know. That's a nice
Yeah.
belly button.
Oh, belly button.
Like a fuck. I don't
Honestly,
know.
sometimes shit is like so confusing, even though it's like the simplest thing.
And we couldn't actually talk to each other either because it was so loud. But
Yeah.
yeah.
thanks.
You're trying to
It
like
was-
mime it
Thanks,
almost
It
like.
was fucking hilarious. Cam made like a bunch of, I think it was like gator tots. I'm trying to remember. But like he left it on the stove in this big crock pot, and like we like already had breakfast and like dropped acid and like went to the beach. When we came back, it was all eaten by birds, and we just like started laughing so hard. Like, oh, the birds are here! Oh my god, like, this is so.
That's the silliest things. It's like
Yeah, like we were just laughing hysterically. Like I was like crying, like laying there, like just because like Lily and Molly were laying there laughing, and I like they were just laughing hysterically. I didn't even know why they're laughing, but I thought it was hilarious that they were laughing. It's just like I didn't even
Laughter's
have,
contagious, man.
yeah, I didn't
Totally.
have anything to laugh at, but I was just like,
I remember I was talking to
laughing.
Aiden
Like,
Karkik, and he was like, "Go get your wine." I was like, "I can't get my wine. I can't concentrate on my feet."
yeah,
And then he was just talking about shit, and I just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah. Oh, it
so
forces
damn
you to have a
funny.
fun time.
Him and Logan Thornton.
Yeah,
It's just me and Logan Thornton and
Just
Aim
laughing.
Karkik, and I think Stephen Mason was on the other side of the table making like encouraging faces at me. I was like, oh, that's so fucking funny.
Oh, it just like makes you laugh so goddamn hard. It's a great time.
But that's the thing, again, like, sometimes when you see people drinking, they cry. But
Yeah.
psychedelics, usually when people are crying,
Yeah.
it's almost in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're so sad about the depredations of the earth.
But, like, they're sad, but they're also, like, they're crying, but it's not, like, a fully, it's not sad.
I think
don't know.
the thing with drugs and alcohol, well, alcohol's a drug. Let's face it.
Easily,
But
man.
let's just think
Easily.
with
Thousands
substances.
of drugs.
Here's the thing with substances is that the way they affect you, I feel totally depends on your mood going into it,
Yeah.
as well as the people you're with.
Yeah.
But
They
like,
said it best, set and setting.
but like, if you were sad before drinking, you're just gonna be more sad. But if you were fired up before drinking, you're just gonna be so fucking rowdy
Yeah.
and have a great time. You know what I mean?
Like, again, to me, drugs almost makes you feel like a kid again because like every emotion is just like so over the top.
That's the secret to kids. They're just
Yeah,
always on
it's-
drugs. That's it. That's why I can't remember my
Yeah, that's
fucking
what
childhood. I was
Jesus
just
was like.
high all the
You
time.
think of like someone on acid and like a kid in a mall. There's so much going on. They're
Same
looking
thing.
at like
It's
everything.
true.
It's the same.
You know, that's the
man.
thing. That's the thing. As a kid, you have that natural happiness, and then as you get older, you need drugs to fill that.
Yeah, man. Well, because it dies down based on society. Who
Yeah.
knows what
When
the hell
we were-
kills it?
Yeah, when we were sitting on the
Negative
beach,
funny.
like,
Pessimism.
I was just sitting on the beach, like putting my hands in the sand and like the rocks, and like it was like amazing. I was just like, my hands were just in the ground, like
Mhm.
feeling it. And I was just like,
Just in the sand.
it
Just,
feels like the sand, the rocks are just like hands in it, just like feeling the earth itself. And I was just
You're like fully
this,
engorged
like
in the
yeah, it was like
sensation,
it just
right?
feels amazing. I was like just feeling
Yeah.
the ground. It was like it
Yeah.
just feels amazing. Like just sitting there on the ground, just loving the feeling of the ground. It's just like. And I was thinking about it, like this is so stupid. Like my hands are just on the ground, but it feels like so good. Like to just like it's so fucking crazy.
But again, back to that kid thing, man.
So yeah, it's like
when
a
they're
kid.
younger,
It's
they
like
don't
a
give a
kid.
shit. Like if
Yeah.
it feels stupid, it's like wow,
Yeah.
this just feels good, and I'm going
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, they're just fucking around.
It's like losing some inhibition and just kind of
Yeah.
like being like, well, this feels awesome, and this
Yeah.
feels shitty. Like when
yeah.
they're happy, they're really happy, but when they're sad,
You're fucked.
everything floods. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like if you're having a bad time, yeah.
It's crazy shit.
Holy
God
shit.
damn
Should we
drugs.
fucking
Yeah.
wrap it up?
okay,
It's a
that
wrap.
was really deep and intense right at the end there.
It was
Yeah,
good.
maybe
That was
it's
good.
nice.
All right. Well, we should leave on a happy note. We should leave on a
that
happy
was-
note.
that was
Did you know?
happy.
Did you know that all otters have a pouch where they keep their favorite rock?
What?
Yeah.
Like a kangaroo
Yeah.
pouch?
And yeah, they always play with their favorite rock for the whole life.
Holy
All right, there you go. There's a happy fact to end on.
Yeah.
What?
If they lose it?
Oh, let's talk.
Look,
We were
no,
ending
no,
on a
no,
happy
no.
note. They don't ever lose it.
Don't ever lose your
They
rock.
don't ever-
That'd be a sick
Yeah.
joke if you stole it from the
Yeah.
otter.
What otters actually do if they lose it is they just turn to LSD. All right, okay.
Yeah. All the kids out there, don't lose your
Thanks.
rocks. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us
Don't lose the
retards
rock.
for 4 hours.
Bye-bye.